Best ball bash. You, me, drafting a team. I pay for it. We split the winnings. It really is that easy. The only catch, you got to be a YouTube member to have access to the chat. Once you're in there, you use the hashtag #JoinTheBash. That'll get your name in the drawing. I will spin a wheel. If your name comes up, I send you the link to the stream. I hope you're cool. I hope you're chill. I hope you are not a liability who could get me canceled. That's the tightrope walk of this show. I'm Pete Overzet. It's the Bash. Let's go. Welcome to the Best Ball Bash. We are throwing a party. One of you guys in the chat will be hopping on stream to draft, and then we will split the $2 million prize.
We are in the 2020 Honda Civic.
I think we got to lock him up.
You're going to be able to get us Jalen Noel to fall by staring them down in the eye right now.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do, Pete.
Lock him up.
That's my kind of guy. I am going to need a howl from you.
Hopefully none of my neighbors mind.
Oh, this is going to be my life. This is so much fun.
All right. How are we doing, everybody? I've been changing my overlay so much these days, taking heat from Levitan, and now I just can't keep anything straight. I believe I need to make this one smaller here, so bear with me. But I will say this. I feel like normally I got to rev the engine a little bit, get the hashtags going, get the submissions. You guys came in hot today. We had a bunch of people waiting for the stream to start. We got 17 entries already in here. Everybody is frothy for the bash today. Excited to see how this goes down. Like I said, become a YouTube member, join the bash in the chat, and we will be good to go. It really is that easy. We've been getting to about, I think 3 drafts has been our average here. And I'll do dealer's choice again as well. If people have a preference on what they want to draft, I'm happy to make that happen. And yeah, so let me check in on the chat, see how you guys are all doing today. Wow, Jerry, it got sick of waiting for the Stoned After Dark idea, so he's going to become a member, try to get here in the afternoon. Angel, Rise and Grind, what's up? Who Hames? We got all the submissions. My guy Mathology, back in the YouTube member streets. I've appreciated your comments over on Spotify, sir. Glad to see you back. Raylish wants to see another 0RB squad. I like it, man. I'm having fun with it. I actually wrote up a little piece about 0RB in the Fantasy Life newsletter this morning, kind of pushing back on that idea that it's impossible to do, that 0RB is dead, and more, spinning it as a product of the time we are in right now as far as drafting, and there being so much ambiguity. But yeah, if you missed Often on the Clock on Tuesday, Nez and I pulled off an extreme 0RB build. I believe Rico Dowdle was our first running back. We took him in the 7th round. So it's possible. It's possible. There's Maryland just here to watch for a bit and learn. Love to hear it. How we doing, everybody? I say we spin this first one. I like the early bird to get the worm. We got 20 entries. I will, per the new rules from last week, I'm going to change the hashtag for each draft. So it does ensure that you have to be here at the time of the spin. But this first one, Join the Bash, is good to go. Good luck to everybody. And we will see who will be joining me for our first draft of the day. Who do we got? Mark Wolf. Yes. I'm excited about this. Mark has been a previous guest on the Bash. He's a doctor, I believe pediatrician, right? He'll be able to correct me if I'm wrong. What other things do you need to know about Mark? He is a noted Christian McCaffrey hater. It has been part of his personal brand for as long as I have known him as a YouTube commenter. If I know one thing that will happen in this draft, is that we will not be selecting Christian McCaffrey in round 1. I know that absolutely for a fact. No, we can't do the rig thing. It's that now it's swung the other way, that it's rigged against. So you think you can tout people? Get out of here, Trevor. Get out of here. All right, let's see here, Mark. I don't know where we have DM'd previously. So let me know where you are at. I'll get my Twitter DMs up. I don't think I see anything from you in Discord yet. But like I said, about 2/3 of the way through the draft with Mark, we'll spin the wheel again and get someone else up here. JT says, I've been grading essays for days and I'm taking a break for this. Kill me. Jeez. Sounds rough, man. Sounds rough. What's up, James? New YouTube member here. What's up, Nick? How we doing? Easy's just signing up for this first draft, unavailable for the others. Thank you, sir. Trying to get in Discord. That sounds very boomery of you, trying to get in Discord. I just imagine you fiddling with the capture right now. Like, I had the puzzle piece correct. Let me in. Let me in. Jerry was hoping for some beginner's luck. It's fair. It's fair. I mean, what? You had, if we do 3 and it's about 20 entries a pop, it's decent odds. Decent odds. Mark, tell me your username on Discord and I will DM you. I'm searching Mark in my my DMs, or just tag me in the Discord. How to send a Discord message. Just tag me anywhere in the Discord, sir. I will make it happen. I will make it happen. What's up, Greg? Looking forward to seeing you at the ship chasing meetup in Austin. All right, here's Greg. Here's Mark. There you go, brother. There's the link. Looking forward to it as well, Greg. That is going to be at the end of July. We got details in the Ship Chasing Discord if you guys are interested in joining us. We'll have some public events as well. We're going to do some drafts and an activity for the YouTube members on the Ship Chasing channel, but we will have some public meetups as well if you guys are in or around Austin that last week in July into August. All right, we'll get Mark up here. I will be curious to see what he would like to draft. As I said, I'm down for dealer's choice. The options would be Best Ball Mania. It would be the Eliminator, weekly winners. I'm not feeling as generous for a big dog. I'm sorry. We have the Pit Bull that's still open, the puppy. There he is, Mark. You figured out Discord.
Yeah, pretty sad over here, Pete. Sorry about that.
You're all good. You're all good. What, you got the day off? You're not on shift right now? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm on vacation this next week. Doing like a midweek to midweek. So we're going to head out of town this weekend. So I had the day off. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, we'll catch up here soon enough. But real quick, what do you want to draft?
Probably BBM if you want to do that.
Yep. Let's do it. Now we're going to turn it down. Where are you going on vacation?
We're going to go to Vegas, actually.
Ooh, okay. Okay. You going to the Sphere? What are you doing?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're going to do that Sphere. I don't know if you know, they're doing the Wizard of Oz where it's, whatever AI infused and stuff's going on the screen because my kids, they're 11. So I think they'll like it. No, they've never been to Vegas. I've never been to Vegas.
Wow. You know what? It's funny. I want to say my first time to Vegas was around that age as well. It was on a road trip out to California. We were going to Sequoia National Park, and it's just kind of a natural stopping point between Denver and California. And being a 10 or 11-year-old walking the strip, that your parents are trying to shield you from all the flyers for the strip clubs. It's incredibly hot. You are very intrigued by all of the roller coasters. I'm excited for the stimulus that your children are about to experience.
Yeah, I'd say they have plenty of stimulation going on in life already. So they should, I guess they'll handle it. I don't know. We'll see.
Love it. Love it. What else do you do with kids in Vegas? I guess a lot of pool time probably.
Yeah, some pool time. We're going to go to a magic show and they like hotels. We'll just walk around, do the strip thing. I think it'll be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember dragging my parents. I wanted to go to Circus really bad, which doesn't even exist anymore, I believe. So yeah, you can get a lot of mileage walking around the Venetian and some of the cooler ones inside.
That's the thought at least. Yeah.
Nice, dude. Well, sounds good. It is going to be very hot, but I'm sure you've already figured that out.
Yeah, luckily, we're south of Houston here, so I'm used to humid heat, so I think we'll adapt all right.
Well, we are going to adapt to the 109 here, as I like to call it, just prime Christian McCaffrey range. So you're telling me CMC falls to pick 9? Are you just letting out a howl and we rip it in?
You know it. That's exactly what's going to happen. No, I took McCaffrey like once or twice so far, like at an 11 or a 12 spot. That's about what it's going to have to be for me to take it.
Okay. Okay. Do you want, for people who aren't familiar, do you want to give your anti-CMC thesis?
Yeah, I can give the answer. I do it every single year. He's going to break a leg. Shanahan's adult. And, he was completely healthy last year. So we were just completely overdue for just a disaster season. So I'm all about the fade again.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well, yeah, I'm guessing you're going to be off the hook here. He's probably not going to fall to 9. What do you like to do from this spot? You generally have those like 3 wide receivers, Amon-Ra, Jefferson, Lamb, or you can pull up a running back.
Yeah, I think it'd probably be the wide receiver unless we want to do maybe Genty. I don't know. We'll see something crazy happens, but I'd probably go wide receiver.
All right, we will check this out. 109. We did get Amon-Ra going at pick 6 here over CMC, Jefferson, and Lamb.
Huh.
We have who's going to come off the board here. Jefferson goes. So, oh my God, dude, I just want to watch you have to tell me not to take CMC at 9 here. This is too good.
That's okay. It's not going to be a problem. Don't worry.
All right, we are on the clock. CMC's here. I'm going to just go ahead and put him in the queue. If I accidentally don't get your pick in, what would you like?
Who else is on wide receiver? I've got it pulled up on YouTube.
CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb or Genty?
Give me Lamb.
All right, there you have it. I wondered if we would have an opportunity to take CMC. We did, and this man said, no way. This is the year he gets hurt. Are you universally out on some of the olds? I assume, like with that thought process, Derrick Henry is going to be a no-go for you as well.
You know, I've faded Derrick Henry forever. Maybe we can swing back the other way just to get a running back option here. But I don't know. We'll see what wraps around.
All right. What's your volume looking like this year? Have you been dabbling?
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. I may or may not max BBM this year because it's been like 3 years of that with not a whole lot of positive return, whereas the rest of the best ball stuff's gone well. So I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out.
Like to hear it. We do get a bunch of green coming off the board. Hochberg swooped in and grabbed McCaffrey at 10. Then we have Genty, Cook, Achane, Barkley go. We're on deck here. Kenneth Walker goes. By ADP, you're looking at Hampton, Chase Brown, Henry, Drake London, and Bowers.
Do you have a preference on Henry versus Brown?
I think I like Henry.
Let's do it.
All right, let's get the big dog here. You said you faded him every year, and you have already fallen into the trap that people have called out. I've called out. You guys get bored with certain player takes, certain exposure elements, and then you come onto the bash and diversify your exposure via my dime. Did that just happen again?
That happened to some degree, but not significantly. I've taken probably 4% Henry, so I feel like I'm not totally just like wasting your money.
So it's just like a very nice light exposure blanket that you're going to share with me. Just like, hey, Pete, like put a little bit of the shawl over your shoulder as well.
That is correct. It's a complete blanket.
Chris, what is the hashtag today? The first hashtag was join the bash, but I am going to change the hashtag. It's going to be a fresh hashtag for every draft. So when Mark and I get to, I don't know, around 13, 14, I will drop a new hashtag. Everyone who's available can put that into the chat and we will respin. The thought being there's some people who come early, don't stick around, aren't able to draft again. So we're going to make sure we get those kind of time boxed, if you will. Any other takes that have formed for you through your early drafts, things you're liking either or structurally or player specific?
Yeah, I think the structure thing is pretty what much everyone else is doing. I want to kind of keep it loose through the first few rounds so you have those options if there's fallers. But I don't mind still a little bit of zero RB. They do look ugly, but, you know, I feel like after 2 or 3 years, it's going to snap back at some point.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was thinking about that yesterday when I wrote up, you know, I was looking at the Jaden Blue stuff. The camp reports on him sound very positive. I mean, you look at the depth chart, it's Malik Davis, it's Phil Maffa. It's like, I'm pretty sure we're just going to get Jaden Blue pretty clean RB2 behind an older injury prone back and a really good offense. So why aren't we loading up on this guy?
I mean, that's the thought, right? You know, what's funny is like I have nothing but like 40% of your favorite Tank Bigsby. It's Brian Robinson. It's all of that stuff.
It is so funny how like the how quickly like perceptions change even in my head. You know, I was so anti Tank Bigsby last year, and now I see Tank Bigsby name and I get excited. I'm like, this is a premium handcuff. I mean, Will Shipley's on the roster bubble. If Barkley goes down, we're going to get 16 touches a game from Tank Bigsby. You know, life comes at you fast, Mark.
Yeah, I agree. And I might be misremembering, but I feel like your good handcuffs were easily like 120s, 130s last year. So it does seem like it's a good time to pounce.
We got a question from Angel in the chat. At what point do you go value uniqueness over player takes? Does it change early in a draft versus late? Do you have thoughts on that comment, Mark?
I'll do a little bit of uniqueness early on. I'm not like Chess Liam over here and just making stuff up about how it's a great play. But yeah, I'll mix it up a little bit from time to time.
All right, we're about to pick at 3-9. I'll circle back, Angel. I have a thought on that as well. But we have started Derrick Henry and CeeDee Lamb. Would be a great eliminator start with these week 13 and week 14 buys. On the clock at 3-9, we're looking at, by ADP, Neighbors, Kyron, Allen, Javonte, Ladd, Tedoroya, Jacobs. You got a favorite here? Garrett Wilson, Igbuka?
Let's just do Neighbors and hopefully we get lucky on that.
I like that. Can we just say that after every pick? Let's just do X and hope we get lucky on that.
Indeed, indeed.
Angel, I would say, at what point do you value uniqueness over player takes? So, shameless plug here for the solver. I do like looking at some of the combo things here. You can tell right now on my CeeDee Lamb teams, and Javonte just went. Javonte's on 50% of my CeeDee Lamb teams. If I start to see combos like that are really getting high as I do more and more volume, I'm going to start to use that as a tiebreaker. Hey, get a little more unique within the portfolio. But as far as doing things like pulling up, a guy like Drake London to the 1-2 turn just to have a unique pairing with Barkley or whatever, I don't really try to pull that lever until the end of the season. I think there's a lot of things that can happen between now and then that can change player values. And you could basically just build a really, really poor version of teams that other people built and snuck in an additional second round pick in the case of that example. So I like the idea of some uniqueness within your own portfolio to make sure you're not too heavy on accidental combos, but I would be careful about sacrificing too many projected points just for the sake of uniqueness. All right, we have Neighbors back on the clock here. Garrett Wilson, Igbuka, Adams are topped by Solver, Burden, Scatabo here. Loveland, who do you like?
Are you scared of the Jets? I would probably go Wilson.
I'm not scared of the Jets.
All right.
If anything, I've been accused of not being scared enough of the Jets, I would say. But no, Wilson at pick 40, that looks good to me.
Okay.
Let's see here. Also on the solver, as always, Angel and anyone interested, you can get 20% off with promo code Pete. You get your exposures, and you can also toggle like different combos. You can see, all right, do I have any teams with both Lamb and Henry? Doesn't look like it. I can go see, all right, Devontae Adams is on 50% of my Derrick Henry teams. DeAndre Swift is on 50% of my Derrick Henry teams. That's a small sample because I've only drafted 3.6% Derrick Henry, but it's just a nice way to filter and slice and dice your portfolio. On Neighbors, Mark, he's obviously been a tricky one. You know, sometimes people grab him early third. Sometimes he falls mid, fourth. I see quite a wide band. As a health professional, what are you expecting from Malik Neighbors?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be great early. But it's the standard end of the year play. And if I'm not mistaken, it's Cowboys Giants to finish the season, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I got to say I'm not week 17 pilled as much this year. I don't know why. It's probably like recency bias on me, just not getting a whole lot of benefit out of that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like we just did the Neighbors thing, and I'm hesitant to say this because there is a very insidious bit going around that I'm not a real best ball bro this year, and so this is going to further, corroborate that rumor. But yeah, man, it's something that has not been as front of mind for me, especially in the early rounds. I think later rounds, I'm like, all right, who are our big quarterback team stacks? Is there a bring back? But I'm not thinking about it through the first 10 rounds normally.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Non-derogatory. Non-derogatory. Make sure you guys check out Ship Chasing this week, or ADP Chasing. I mean, another great episode with the fellas. I believe there was an unironic That's Fair dropped by Mike Shope at some point during that episode. But here's our team, Mark: CeeDee Lamb, Derrick Henry, Neighbors, Garrett Wilson. This can be kind of an interesting spot now at 57 in that some of these running backs are getting pushed up. Tout, Swift. You probably could be looking at a wide receiver or quarterback in this range, depending on how it goes.
Yeah, I think if we hit a pocket where the running backs are bad, not going to force it.
Yeah. How? Where are you at on the Tootin? We were arguing that on Ship Chasing. What part of the slapsis is Tootin falling on? Are you on Team Tootin, Team C-Rod?
I'm somewhere in between. I'll take whatever falls. I'm not aggressively going after either one of those guys.
Yeah. All right, there you go. You're just going to middle it right now. You're not going to be too ideological.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, I kind of lied. It does seem like a couple running backs falling here. Yeah, both Bucky and Judkins are available. You also have Christian Watson. Anyone stand out to you?
I would probably take Bucky if he was available over Judkins, but Judkins would be the second pick.
No, we're on the clock and Bucky's here. You want to do it?
Let's do Bucky.
Yeah, Bucky at pick 57. I've been kind of surprised that his ADP isn't inching up kind of in tandem with Teuton's, because I think the news has been pretty positive for Bucky returning to camp after that ambiguity, but people are still pretty spooked.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't turn out great last year, obviously, but maybe it is health, maybe it's not, but I think it's worth the risk.
Yeah. Let's see here. Our early 6th round pick, I'm trying to think, as far as quarterback stuff, this is too early for Dak. Nothing with Neighbors or Wilson here. The tight end, you're in the Tyler Warren pocket. Brian Thomas, Jordan Tyson, Marvin Harrison, Parker Washington. That's kind of the wide receiver range.
Yeah. I might go Warren there and just kind of, again, give us some more optionality as we go down the board.
Yeah, Tyler Warren. Yeah, I kind of like that. I do like Jordan Tyson, but he goes. So it's Tyson, Brian Thomas, Marvin Harrison, Parker Washington, Jalen Warren. You mean Tyler Warren, right?
Yes, Tyler.
All right, let's grab Tyler Warren here. Yeah, that's a tricky spot. I've been struggling with Brian Thomas. He's one that I just don't feel strongly about in either direction, which means I generally just kind of go away from him. How are you playing the Jags wide receivers / defensive backs?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. I mean, I will take, obviously, if there's really good value on the defensive back, I'll do it. But yeah, I'm worried that Brian Thomas and Parker Washington are just going to both middle it, and they'll be like not worth the pick. I think there's too much going on in that offense.
Yeah. Remind me, you're Houston. Did you say, are you a Texans fan or are you a transplant?
I'm from Dallas originally, but I don't have a strong allegiance there either. I'm just again, ruined by fantasy football. There's no allegiance at all.
Yeah. And again, clarify for people, what exactly is your profession? Was I right? Pediatrician?
Yeah, pediatrician.
Okay. Go AZ Cards always wants to know your favorite beer of choice, parentheses, if you are weak, seltzer of choice. I don't like this bullying from the beer snobs here with being considered weak, but what's your answer there?
It's all right. I can go ahead and get mogged by that because I'm not a huge beer drinker anymore. I get older, I can barely handle it. So I think as you are, I'm a margarita guy if I go out to a restaurant. And yeah, I know a whole lot of beta over here. What can I say?
Dude, the margaritas, man. I had one over the weekend for my birthday. Actually, scratch that. I had 2 of them over the weekend, and yeah, always hits the spot in the summer. JT wants to know: are you clicking the picks today, or is it Lou or one of your team after the Levitan incident? Yeah, there's been ongoing discussions with Adam Levitan, with producers, after a historically bad Best Ball breakfast where Levitan berated me repeatedly on my birthday. And so, yeah, we're having to kind of think through what the future of that show looks like. But I am happy to confirm I am on the sticks today. And I'd like to think, Mark, you tell me, am I doing a good job telling you who's available, showing the draft board, recapping the team, or was Levitan's criticism fair?
I think the Levitan, I don't know, heel turn is quite impressive. These circles are not dominating the screen at all. And seriously, he just needs to get the silver readers. If you can't see the screen, it'll be fine. He just needs to give it up.
Yeah, because I'll be completely honest. I'm thinking about a capitulation on the size of the circles on Best Ball breakfast specifically. And I just need to know, should I capitulate to big whiny boomer Adam Levitan, or should I hold strong? Because the other thing that doesn't sit well with me, Adam Levitan's mantra across fantasy sports, across life, is no excuses, play like a champion. And this guy had about 19 different excuses for the Sam Laporta pick. So I just don't know if I'm buying this from him.
I agree. Play like a champion. He's really giving it up.
All right. Do you want to get Dak Prescott here with CeeDee Lamb? There's also Alec Pierce, Cortland Sutton, Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, that's definitely Dak over those guys.
All right. Let's get Dak in here to stack up with Lamb. Go Easy Cards wants to know, what's your favorite underdog contest type? He didn't put in parentheses, if you say weekly winners, you're a weak individual. That's nice.
No, it'd be something like the Pitbull, or the Dalmatian, the stuff that's a little bit higher buy-in, that's smaller field.
That's your favorite? We had an option to draft a Pitbull and you went right to the BBM.
Yeah, well, the thing about that is I'm just going to slow all the Pitbulls once the contest is getting closed out, try and maximize the edge there. So
There you go. Yes, on the classic margs, or are we flavoring? I did one of the classic margs. I kind of always like to, at a place, just try their classic marg, get a good barometer. And then I go to the spicy marg. Ideally, I like the spicy mezcal margs, but this was a cucumber jalapeno marg was my second one. Cortland Sutton, Jordan Addison, Rico Dowdle, Blake Corum. Who do you like?
How many wide receivers do we have right now, Pete?
We got 3.
Yeah, let's get Sutton. I'm not excited about it, but I don't think it's a bad pick.
You did get Cortland Sutton 8 picks past ADP. It didn't seem like you were that excited, but does it warrant a howl?
No, Cortland Sutton does not get a howl.
Wow. So it's only because of Sutton. Theoretically, you're not going to go full actuary on me. You would do a howl in the right circumstance.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's not going to be for a wide receiver on the Broncos, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. Is that an anti-Broncos take or an anti-old dusty Cortland Sutton take?
I think it's a combination of those things. It's all dusty.
Why are you anti-Broncos?
I don't know. I think Bo Nix, I'm not expecting any progression this year. And I just think, Sean Payton and his, I don't know, vibes. I never liked him. I'm sorry if you hear that dog barking, the pool guys at the backyard. So.
Wow. The pool guy, the dog I assume this is your dog though, right?
Yeah, it's my dog, unfortunately.
What kind of pup are we talking about here?
He is some sort of Chihuahua mutt thing we got at a pound. So he's bigger than a Chihuahua, but similar anxiety-riddled problems.
Well, you realize what happened, right? What's your dog's name?
Cooper.
Cooper heard that a howl was requested on the show. You didn't comply, and he stepped in and did what you were too scared to do. He
really did. He did step up there. I will take it.
There it is. The someone's howling. A nice effort there from Cooper. Named after Amari Cooper, anyone, or just a good dog name?
No, just a good dog name.
All right. Let's get oriented here. We have through 8 rounds, a 1-2-4-1. We got Dak stacked up with CeeDee Lamb. We got our 2 running backs, the big dog and Bucky Irving. Along with CeeDee, we got that week 17 bring back with Malik Neighbors. We got Garrett Wilson, a regrettable, unenthusiastic selection of Cortland Sutton and Tyler Warren here. How are you feeling about the squad?
I don't think it's bad. Like I said, it's balanced. So I feel like, if we can finish decent, I think we'll be in a good spot.
All right. Would you do, where do you fall on the, he just goes there. I was going to do the old Jackson Dart and Dak Prescott in the same week 17 game discourse.
That wouldn't bother me, honestly.
Okay. Good to know. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it either. How have you been playing the QB stuff? Obviously, Dak lines up with CeeDee there. Pretty easy, no-brainer. Are you a 3 QB, bro?
I'm pretty much 2 QB back for the 18-round stuff. There's 3 QBs, but I'm pretty aggressively trying to get decent QBs early on.
Yeah. Let's see here. We are getting the quarterback run in this round with Stafford, Goff, Dart, and Purdy all coming off the board. This Gainwell hype continues to hold here at pick 182. If we're looking at ADP, you got Fannin, Myers, Dobbins. Fannin goes Myers, Dobbins, Pearsall, Pittman, Bo Nix. If you do want to go that quarterback route, Jonathan Brooks. What do you think?
I'd be Ricky Pearsall.
All right, Ricky Pearsall. I like it. So already to 5 wide receivers here. I think the only thing for me in these spots is now our wide receiver room is probably 1 wide receiver away from being done. Does that limit your flexibility, not, pivoting back to say running back or QB2?
I just don't like any of those running backs. I don't think they're worth it.
You're not a Brooks guy? You're not buying that hype?
I think he's way too hyped right now. I'm a little concerned. Yeah.
Yeah. That is hashtag that's fair. I was curious if you'd maybe I know you just said you didn't like the Broncos, but once you go Sutton, if you do like a Dobbins, Bo Nix, but it sounds like that was never going to happen for you.
I mean, if Dobbins came around, I would consider it. But again, I don't see him into the year being the guy you would really want to lean on.
Yes. But Sutton, can be the guy.
That's who you really want.
Brooks does go here. Feels like every draft I do, you see him going a little earlier and earlier. Some other wide receivers, though, go right after we take Pearsall, which helps our cause with Jacoby Myers, Michael Pittman, and Wan'Dale Robinson. Kittle goes here a little ahead of ADP as well, and it does look like both Dobbins and Nix are here, as is Rashad White, Aaron Jones. What do you want to do?
I'll let you lean into the RB you prefer. I'm fine with Dobbins here if you want to just have the correlation part.
Yeah, you know me, I'm a value hound, and so getting both Dobbins and Cortland Sutton essentially around past ADP, get our third running back. I'll throw it to the committee. I'll throw it to Cooper. Do you want to do a howl for the Dobbins selection?
I mean, I can give you the weakest hoo-hoo for that, but I am not enthusiastic.
I'm gonna need the pool guy to rile up Cooper again, because I
need something. We also have a pug who will chase its tail and bark incessantly, so maybe that'll happen at some point.
Okay. All right. There we go. We do come out of this round, back-to-back rounds, with our fifth wide receiver, Ricky Pearsall, our third running back, J.K. Dobbins. As far as quarterback stuff, Bo Nix now off the board, but with Tyler Warren, Daniel Jones is an option. With Garrett Wilson, Geno Smith. How gross do you get at QB with your builds?
Yeah, I mean, if with Dak, I don't mind. We'd obviously go for 3 if that was the case. We get into those waters, but yeah, I can live with that with a decent starting quarterback in Dak.
Yeah. Are you worried that you're going to go through underdog drafting withdrawals when you're in Vegas and not able to draft legally in Nevada?
No, I'll have some slows going. I'll survive it.
Okay. Yeah. That is, I feel like it's a fine line to balance. You want the little dopamine drip on vacation, the little check-in when you're waiting in line, waiting for a show, right. But you also can't be overwhelmed with slow draft notifications in a way that detracts from enjoying your vacation.
100%. Luckily, it's most of the puppy one slows that are wrapping up. So it's like 17, 18 round picks. So it doesn't even matter at this point. I'll check them, and if I miss them, no worries.
All right, look at that, man. You're unflappable. Just nothing's gonna get you bent out of shape.
No, it'll be all right. I don't have any like $500 drafts going or anything crazy like that.
Do you have any restaurants that you are trying to get to when you're out there? Or do you just have to go with the flow with the kids?
Kind of got to go with the flow with the kids. The wife's looking at that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't have a specific thing I'm really thinking about. Yeah, if anyone has recommendations, they can throw them up.
Yeah, are your kids picky eaters?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if there's chicken and whatever chips and salsa, they'll be fine. But they're not going to go to a nice restaurant.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, because then that takes stuff like there's some good sushi places,
right.
Some good But if you need the chicken, the chips, and the salsa, that might limit you a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. All right, 1-3-5-1. We're going to pick here in the 11th round. After Mark and I make rounds 11 and 12 selections, I'm going to get the giveaway going for our second draft. We had a bunch of green come off the board here in succession: Jordan Mason, Bill, Chris Rodriguez, and Tyrone Tracy, Diggs, Kelsey. We are on deck. Looks like we got some tight ends here. Goddard, Kincaid, Andrews, Ferguson. We got some quarterbacks: Malik Willis, Stroud. What would you like to do here?
Are we bad shape with the turn on the quarterbacks? I hadn't paid attention to that. Or can we push that?
2, 1, 1, 1. Like, yeah, average shape.
Okay. Let's I would take Goddard.
Did I get it? Yeah, he's top of my my rank, so we're good.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll grab Goddard here. I mean, ETR has a much higher rank on him than ADP, I think 115. We get him at 129, which is slightly ahead of ADP, but still a nice rankings value there.
And then, yeah, obviously, if we can get Willis, that'd be great. That'd probably be the preference.
Okay. Yeah, let's see here as far as options. Yeah, I think that takes some pressure off. I also think... Wait, did Daniel Jones already go? Yeah, someone knew we were hot for Daniel Jones and took him apparently way ahead of ADP.
They can get the reverse woo for that. That's impressive.
Or wait, am I just not looking in the right spot? No, he's still here.
Okay.
So sorry. This was the question I was going to ask. Do you like Jones with Warren? Willis goes. So I was going to say you could just pull up Daniel Jones here. It's 10 picks ahead of ADP, or you could do something else.
Yeah, I guess we kind of are obligated to do that now.
Yeah, the other thing would be like you take Omar Cooper and then try to double Geno.
Yeah, I think I'd take a little more stability with Jones, hopefully, and then we'll get our third QB.
All right, Jeremy has a question. although it doesn't sound like you have solved this within your own household. He says, as a pediatrician, how do we develop the kids' palates? Need to get back to good restaurants.
I don't. I mean, I have like all sorts of people tell me things. They only feed their kids the organic stuff. They never take them to restaurants, let them eat junk, and then at some point the kids just funnel into picky eating either way. So I don't know. If I had the hack for that, write a book or something, and then I'd not have to work. But no, it is what it is.
We had this April. She's pretty good. She has gotten a little bit more limited as far as like, now there's some vegetables she will do and won't do. But for the most part, really good. She likes seafood, which is really helpful. She loves salmon. She loves shrimp. She'll do lobster. So, a sophisticated palate. But last night or 2 nights ago, we did scallops. And she was just giving these the side eye. She said she refused to try it. And we said, no, you're going to try it. And she said, okay, but if I try it, you have to cheer for me. So my wife and I have to like literally start chanting, hooting and hollering. She finally puts it in her mouth. She's chewing it around, sloshing around, and then the face changes, just spits the scallop back on the dish. But if they try it, I'm cool with it.
If you try, you get it works. So Pete, like, how is the generic like 3-nager age treating y'all? Is it like out of control or is it manageable?
It's funny you say that because I think if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have been like, man, it's easy breezy. She is just now starting to give us a lot of trouble at bedtime. We converted her to her, toddler bed away from the crib, like 6 months ago. And at first it was like really good. And now she's starting to push the autonomy of, oh, I can walk. I'm going to go turn my closet light on. I'm going to open up the blinds and look outside. So we're in the process of trying new techniques of how to do our typical wind down and keep the little devil in her room. It's been tricky the past few weeks.
Yeah, it's that thing. I guess at some point you get she wakes up in the middle of the night, comes to the room over and over. At some point you just have to have that battle. It's not fun.
The best thing we've been doing is she has like the little hatch light. And like when we do quiet time for naps and stuff, it's like, okay, when it's red, you have to stay in your room. When it flips to green, you can come out. So I've started doing that at bedtime. I'm like, this red light, it is time to go to bed. This red light means you can't come out. And she like will respect the light way more than she'll respect my words.
Hey, whatever works.
This has been Toddler Parenting and Eating Tips brought to you by Pete and Mark. We were about to pick at 13-9. We have Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, Derrick Henry, Bucky Irving, J.K. Dobbins, CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors, Garrett Wilson, Cortland Sutton, Ricky Pearsall. We got the 2 tight ends with Tyler Warren and Dallas Goedert. How you feeling positionally? Is there a spot you're looking at here?
Probably look. Is there anything on running back that looks remotely interesting?
Yeah, you got Pacheco, Algier, Sharbs, Spears, Brian Robinson, wide receiver Jawan Jennings, Naylor, Trey Tucker, Flournoy.
Kind of hate all that, Pete. I will let you totally lean into whatever you want because I am not feeling any of it.
I just threw Geno Smith in the queue at the last second. I know his ADP's lower, but if everything feels the same here, maybe we just get that third quarterback, that third stack.
Yeah, I don't think that's bad because at some point, if some of those backup running backs, we're not burning a pick on Geno, we can pick more of them up. I think that works.
The other thing too is, he just went right after us. I was like, there's a chance we could go SYTYCT as well if we wanted to go 3 tight ends there, but I think Warren Goddard gives us the flexibility to stay with 2.
Yeah, I think unless it's just real ugly at another spot, we keep it 2.
It is interesting, like seeing the solver recommendations, and it shows how flat this tier is, where like a guy like Ryan Flournoy is jumping up here. Although I guess this is actually pretty close to his ADP, so maybe it isn't a huge correlation bump. I don't know if you're in on Flournoy with Dak. There is Pacheco, Denzel, Boston, Algier, Sharbs.
Yeah, it would be Denzel, Boston, or Flournoy, whichever you like there. I'm honestly indifferent on those 2.
Man, I like the double stack. I like leaning into the Cowboys stuff. I know the fellas were talking about Flournoy on ADP chasing this week. There was some good debate about like, is this the classic, wide receiver 3 that gets steamed up that we fall for? That isn't really a thing. Your Marquez Callaways. I think they used Joshua Palmer as an example last year. But the counter is the Flournoy price is pretty good. It's not getting out of hand as the pretty clean wide receiver 3 on a good offense.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I mean, I fully expect, I am not a Pickens guy at his cost. I don't think he's going to like bust or anything, but I could see how Flournoy, he has a reasonable role and it affects everyone else.
All right, guys, as we get ready to make our next pick, we are going to spin again to see who's going to hop up. I'm trying to think how creative I want to get with this next hashtag, but let's just do Vegas in honor of Mark. We'll keep it simple. Hashtag Vegas in the chat if you want to hop on stream and draft with me. When Mark and I are done, I'll let those hashtags trickle in. I'll recap this team. We got a 3-3-6-2. Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, all of them stacked up with their top pass catchers. We have Derrick Henry, Bucky Irving, and J.K. Dobbins at running back. Lamb, Neighbors, Wilson, Sutton, Pearsall, Flournoy at wide receiver, Warren, Goddard. Can we get creative here at running back? We're going to probably have to go hard in the paint these last few picks.
I think, what we alluded to, I guess, early on, we'll have the backup running backs and hope for some chaos this year.
That's right. Yeah, which isn't a bad way to do it too, right? I mean, we get Henry at the top. That's our anchor. Bucky, we're playing as the guy who can return round 2 value if everything breaks his way. Dobbins is, hopefully that kind of early season hammer, a guy who can go touchdown hunting on an ascending offense. And now we just got to spray and pray.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
All right. At the two, if we're really mapping it out, we have 4 more picks. And we have a 3-3-6-2. I mean, I could see us for sure doing 3 running backs, and then it's kind of where you want to place that final pick.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we do.
Look at this. Mathology is back. It must be football season. That's right. We have some of our old friends, our familiar faces. Mark, Mathology, part of the in-season Hand Builder and Optobros crew. I'm jealous of some of you guys who take this the full break, clear your mind, come back in a good headspace. Glad to have you back, Mathology. All right, Mark, are you someone who drafts right off the rip when they announce them, or do you like taking a little break?
No, I drafted all the pre stuff. I stay pretty steady throughout the year. If they've got contests, I'll draft them.
Yeah. I'll pull up running back here. We are looking at Dylan Sampson, Tank Bigsby, who we discussed, Singleton, Kamara. Then you're into some of the rookies, Emmett Johnson, Mike Washington, Katron Allen. Yeah. What do you think?
It'd be the top 2 that you already mentioned. It would be, Cleveland running back, and then I would go to Tank after that.
Dylan Sampson went 1 before, so let's go ahead and grab Tank.
All right.
We grabbed Tank here. We mentioned how we both have a little bit of a Week 17 blind spot here. We can check in Indiana opposite Cleveland, so that could have been nice with Sampson. We obviously passed on Boston for Flournoy. The other stack is the Jets opposite Minnesota. I guess Damon Claiborne as a late round selection could be intriguing through that lens.
That'd be the 18th round pick, I guess, exclusively if we went that direction.
Yeah. What about, the other suggestion that is bubbling up if we go with a wide receiver would be A.D. Mitchell, who's getting rave reviews about his connection with Geno Smith at training camp right now. Otherwise, Singleton, what do you like? I
think I'd take Mitchell over Singleton.
All right. No, he just went. Shit.
Oh, all right. Singleton it is?
Yeah. It's Singleton, Katron Allen, Ray Davis. Those guys are all kind of in the same tier, but we'll grab Singleton here.
Yeah.
Let's see here. This is a fun question from Jeremy. If you could only have one piece of medical equipment in your doctor's bag, what would it be?
I mean, like realistically, the only equipment doctors really use is their stethoscope. That's like 90% of what you need. You can do reflexes with it. I don't do surgical procedures, anything like that. So yeah, just stethoscope.
There you go. This is the version of you run into your burning house. What's the one object you save? This is running into your doctor's office, grab the stethoscope and leave. I've been impressed. April loves playing doctor. And so now we have just like 8 different stethoscopes laying around the house. And even like the pretend kids ones they work pretty well as far as being able to hear a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the physics of it. There's like the old doctors and the ones that can't hear good. You can get ones that augment the sound and like amplify it so you can just hear everything. But yeah, basic stethoscope works great.
All right, we got 25 entries here via hashtag Vegas. So we are going to spin to see who's coming up next to follow Mark. Good luck to everybody in the chat. We will do another draft after this, so stay in line. Oh, we got MBF 1515. I'm not sure if I recognize this username or not. It's not ringing a bell, but MBF 1515. Let me know your Discord or X handle. Shoot me a message. We'll get you squared away with that link. You will be drafting here in about less than 5 minutes, I would imagine. 2 more picks here, Mark, as we land this plane 3-5-6-2. We got sniped on 80 Mitchell. We know we're probably interested in at least one more running back. Any other things you want to consider here?
Not really. What do we have? 7 wide receivers right now? Where are we at?
6.
Okay. So yeah, maybe one more there. So running back, wide receiver to finish out.
Yeah, I'll go over to running back and wide receiver. Solver is referencing Braylon Allen, like if you wanted to really lean in to this Bills stuff, or sorry, Jets stuff. And then wide receiver here. How do we just keep getting? No, I think Braylon Allen's still here if you want him. Who do you want?
Yeah, let's do Braylon.
Okay. If I can find him here. Why am I? Where are you, Braylon? Dude. Oh, it's because I spelled it wrong, dude. I'm going to mess this up. I'm going to mess this up. I messed it up, Mark.
Oh, man. I'm about to have a Levitan moment over here. I'm going to compose myself.
I spelled it A-L-E-N. All right.
Who'd we get?
This is more. I hope you like Kayshon Boutte is what I'd like to say to you. That's what I'd like to say to you.
You know, we needed a running back and a wide receiver, so 1 of 2 done.
My goodness. Unbelievable.
You know, Pete, if we'd done the star method, this wouldn't have been a problem. And I cannot believe the size of these circles, man.
Let me have it.
Yeah.
Let me have it. In other news, MBF, I did find you on Discord. Just shot you a message. There you go, sir. All right, let's see here. Braylon Allen still is available. Would you like him as our final selection?
Yeah, let's take him.
So this is the conversation we have to have. Obviously, we're going to take Braylon Allen. We were going to probably go with our 7th wide receiver in the last round. Who would you have rather have had? Would you have been a Pat Bryant guy with Sutton, Bateman?
Mm-hmm.
Who would have been?
It would have been. I'm pretty big on. I've drafted a lot of last round. Pat Bryant and trying to work in some Noel there too. So those would have been the 2 late round picks I'd usually go with.
Yeah,
probably good to mix up. Yeah, diversity.
Okay. Yeah, we could have doubled up. Yeah, Bryant with Sutton was probably the move. You know, it is what it is. Hey, that's on me, guys. No excuses. Play like a champion. That all I'll say though is once Kayshon Boutte is the guy you need, I will victory lap that misclick. Mark, here's the team: 3-6-7-2. Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, Derrick Henry, Bucky Irving, J.K. Dobbins, Tank Bigsby, Nicholas Singleton, and Braylon Allen. CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors, Garrett Wilson, Cortland Sutton, Ricky Pearsall, Ryan Flournoy, and yes, Kayshon Boutte. 2 tight ends: Tyler Warren, Dallas Goedert. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a balanced team. Feels like one of those teams that would probably do good in the season long. Maybe, I don't know. You know, it's like everyone always says you draft these and they all feel the same. But yeah, it feels decent.
All right, man. Well, it was great syncing up with you again for an annual draft. I think the last time we did one, was it during Battle Royale season when you were on?
No, we did it was like you did a night stream and you did some drafts like this. So it was like one of those random after dark ones actually, and we did a best ball.
I do plan to do a night edition of the Bash at some point, if that's something that you guys would be interested in. I know, noon Eastern isn't always the easiest time for everyone. So let me know. It's when people chirp at me of, can you get a night edition, enough chirping, and I will capitulate there. So let me know in the comments what time you would like to participate in the Bash. Mark, pleasure as always. I'm going to get Evan up on screen and let you go.
Thanks, man.
All right. Peace, dude. All right, welcoming to the stage a man who knows how to fill his entire circle on his camera. It's Evan, aka MBF. Have we ever done a show together?
No, I don't think we have. I've been following best ball about 2 years now, so I'm relatively new.
Awesome. Well, excited to get to know you here over the course of the draft. What would you like to draft?
Any standard format is good.
Well, hey, man, this is dealer's choice. So I want you to, you want to do a pit bull? You want to do a BBM? What do you want to do?
Let's go BBM. Pit bull might take a little bit to fill.
Well, you know what? I just want to push back on that part. I'm happy to do a BBM. I get offended when people don't think I can fill a draft on the spot. So
Right,
if you
yeah.
want to do a pit bull, I promise we won't keep you waiting.
Sure, let's go for a pit bull then. You did fill the
Okay.
big dog the other day pretty quickly.
And now, as I click into this, I swear to God, you guys in the chat, if you do not fill this pit bull pronto, I am going to fall on my face and look so unbelievably stupid. We need 6 more, 5 more, 4 more. Who has bullets left for the pit bull? 2 more, 1 more. What did I tell you, Evan? What did I tell you? Boom, filled. Thank you, people. All right. We are going to do the pit bull for people who need a refresher. This is a $20 entry. It's 2 of 12, 1 of 6 in the week 15 pod, 1 of 5 in the week 16, and then 156 person final, 28,000 total entrants. And despite it being a smaller field, 10 max, we still get that sweet, sweet 100K up top. We got the 111. Evan, how do you feel about this draft slot?
Pretty good, pretty good. I like the 1-2 turn. I feel like that was true last year also, but all the running backs there, I feel really good about getting at least one of them. 11.
Nice. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you located? What do you do for work?
So I'm in Philadelphia. Lived in Philadelphia or the Philadelphia area my whole life. And I don't want to dox myself too much, but I work in insurance.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Are you an Eagles fan, or did your fandom drift elsewhere?
Nope, Eagles fan, Philadelphia sports fan through and through. I remember. I mean, I don't remember the Eagles pre Andy Reid, pre Donovan McNabb. That was kind of when I got into it. But yeah, I've been lucky as an Eagles fan, less lucky as a Sixers Flyers fan in the last 25 years.
Where do you stand on the, I guess we have AJ Brown discourse, we have Jalen Hurts discourse. Where do you fall on all of that?
I mean, I didn't really love the fact that they moved AJ Brown, obviously, because I still think he's a really talented player. But it does seem like with Sean Mannion coming in, they're really. I think this is a put up or shut up year for Hurts and Sirianni. They need to show that they can do it without Saquon rushing for 2,000 yards and without an incredible offensive line like they had 2 years ago when they won the Super Bowl. I think they're going to change their offense to be a little more McVay, Shanahan with the new coaching staff. So the thing about Howie is he doesn't sit on his laurels. He's not just going to be like, oh, well, we won 2 years ago. Our system's good. Like they're going to be aggressive. They showed it with Carson Wentz. And I think if Hurts and the offense doesn't take a step up this year, we might see some bigger changes coming down the line.
Nice. Yeah. And I assume with that same thought, you're pretty excited about the influx of talent. What do you got? You got Lemon, you got Stowers, you got Dontavian Wicks if you're a SEAL.
Yeah, I like that they're kind of, there wasn't a big fish to get. I mean, I don't think they were going to sign Alec Pierce to a big deal. So volume game, getting guys who can get open in the short yards. I think this might be the last Goddard year, so I really like the Stowers pick long term. I think that's going to be good for them.
All right, we are going to pick at 111. The wide receivers are all off the board, including Justin Jefferson going 102, Amon-Ra, Lamb, JSN, Puka, Chase. The most wide receivers you'll see through 8 picks normally here. So that's going to leave us with options that are running back, CMC, Genty, Cook, Barkley, Achane. Do you indulge your go Birds, or do you do something else here?
I'm Genty here. I could see him climbing by the end of the summer, so I really like getting him at this price.
I mean, I see him climbing regularly. I mean, we'll see people take him at 105, 103, depending on your persuasion or if you happen to be an exterminator in Wisconsin. We are back on the clock. Genty goes. We do have Barkley here, Henry, London, Walker.
Now I'm being a homer. Go Barkley.
All right, here we
Lane
go.
Johnson is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated players in the league. And I know he's 36, but he's a Hall of Fame talent. I'm really hoping the offensive line bounces back this year. It'll be interesting because they had that, Jeff Stoutland for 13 years, came in with Chip Kelly and stayed that long. And he was one of the best. He developed Jordan Mailata. Jason Kelsey was kind of not great. And then Stoutland got a handle on him and got him to a high level. So it'll be interesting to see how it progresses. But I like Barkley better than I don't feel great about Hampton.
Yeah.
Walker's all right, but I just feel better about Barkley. They're going to give him the rock a lot as long as he's healthy. And he's such a good talent. I know he's a 29-year-old running back, but he's one of the most talented guys in the league. Guys like him and McCaffrey and Henry, at this point, I'm just at ADP with them, and when they fall off, they fall off. It's like they're already kind of breaking the mold for running backs, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you gotta. I mean, it's like we know that he's deserving of a round one pick when he's coming off the 20 touchdown season. He's going 103, 104. Then he, touchdown regression hits, and now he's an early second round pick. That pendulum could easily swing back. A few tush pushes go his way, breaks off an extra long run or two, and now all of a sudden you're looking at a guy who you should have taken at 105, 106. That doesn't seem absurd to me.
Right. And then the tush push, last year, the tush push was less efficient than the league average for QB sneaks. And Jalen Hurts also kind of indicated he didn't really want to run as much as he did in his, I guess, younger years. So I think that there's definitely room for Barkley to really pay off that price tag.
Now, when did you become a best ball bro? I did see you're a ship chaser. You're a best ball value hound here, so I assume you're in pretty deep. But what was your journey to getting to this point?
So with best ball, I did a few of those self-contained 10, 12 person drafts, going back as far as I think 2021, just because I wanted to practice for my home league.
Yeah,
and I thought it was better than doing the mock drafts on ESPN or Yahoo or whatever. People don't take them seriously. It's not really a big help. So my thought was, I'll just go do a $5 best ball draft and it'll actually be better practice. But then I didn't really get into it until 2 years ago. Me and a couple buddies split a FFPC team, and none of us had ever done FFPC before with, of course, the tight end premium, as we all know. So I was going through YouTube looking for drafts, and I saw the one that Davis did with Silva and Pat Thorman and JJ. And I think it was Rich Crebar was the other one. So I kind of just was like, this Davis guy's pretty funny. I wasn't familiar with him. I actually knew you because I get the email that says it's from Matthew Berry and it's actually from you. So I was familiar. Then I was like, Pete Overzet, I recognize that name. And I kind of just fell into it from there.
That's funny. There you go. Yeah, those there's a few draft streams now that I feel everybody looks forward to every year. It's the Thorman Silva Reeves one. I think the Ron Stewart Sanderson Liam one is up there. Obviously, people love our crack rock draft. So that's how redraft season is in the air when those drafts start. And
yeah, they're always a fun watch.
All right, we started with these two running backs, Genty and Barkley. Evan is spitting facts about his hometown Eagles team. We're looking at, by ADP right now, Etienne, Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, Javonte, Ladd, Tedoroya, Jacobs, Garrett Wilson. Anything catch your eye here as we're about to be on deck?
Etienne is still there. That's pretty good value. I was just going to say Zay, but he goes off. Higgins is nice. Ladd is nice. Probably one of those guys.
Yep, we'll see what H. Gamble does here. He does go ETN, so that Howell opportunity is gone. Do you have a preference between Higgins and Ladd?
I'll go Ladd. It is a little behind the top, but I like his potential. I like the Chargers' offense potential. He is one of those guys. It's like, if he gets past ADP, I'll draft him, but I'm never excited to take him.
I like that. I did because I have done this Genty Barkley start a few times, so I was curious my combos here. It looks like I've done Garrett Wilson and Javonte a good bit, but no Ladd with them. So Angel was asking in the chat early about, some light diversification there. That's kind of how I would do it. If you're really close on it, might as well flip to the unique combo there. So we grab Ladd just a couple picks ahead of ADP, and T. Higgins actually comes all the way back here if you still like him.
No, let's go Jacobs. I think this is a good spot for Jacobs,
Okay.
And I like going like 3 running backs through 4 or 5. So especially now that Tout is probably going to be there 5'11" he used to be, but
yeah, I just kind of like taking a page from the book of the Rashee Rice situation of being like, nothing ever happens. This is all noise right now. Jacobs is going to be fine.
Yeah, and I could totally. I mean, even if he's not fine, I could totally see it being pushed to next season. So I think that, it's starting June 18th. I don't even think charges were officially filed. They did that thing where they brought him in and then they were investigating. And I don't know if we've gotten much of an update. So it kind of seems like nothing's going to happen. Obviously, Goodell could come in at any moment, but
I feel like you're pretty on top of everything here. I wasn't sure at first if it was just Eagle stuff, but you seem to know your way around. Were you contemplating tossing your name in the ring for So You Think You Can Tout?
Think about it. I was a journalism major in college, so I wanted to be a sports writer, and eventually kind of came like, where can I make money? And it wasn't in sports writing, unfortunately. But I did think about it. I just didn't really have a good truth serum take. And I know a lot of people don't understand the truth serum take, but I wasn't really sure what my in was going to be. I prefer writing in general to, I think, not that I have a ton of experience podcasting, but I've always found I best organize my thoughts when I write them down. Like, to me, Bill Simmons is still a writer. He's not a podcaster.
Wow. That is a hot take because by his output, he is most definitely a podcaster, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like nothing he does now is going to come close to like reading the 2008 NBA draft diary for me. That was like the peak of him.
Dude, like, I don't think there's, how old are you?
33.
33. Yeah. I just turned 39. I think for basically anyone within our age group, if you didn't have a time, I remember being in college, pulling up the draft diaries. It was like, if you weren't reading Bill Simmons regularly, I mean, he was the one guy to go to. I mean, at the time you did have Deadspin that kind of spun off from that. And there were some of the blog culture that popped up, but Simmons was appointment reading for anyone who wanted more from sports than just what was on TV.
Yeah, and it's weird because like so many people do that now, and now it's like kind of normal to have like the blended pop culture talking about movies and all that stuff. And he 20 years ago, he was really the only person who was doing that. Certainly the person doing it at a high level.
And I think to your point, and this is something I talked about with Ron on the most recent episode of So You Think You Can Tout. And I think, Simmons is undeniably a better podcaster because of the amount of writing he has done. In that exact point you said, writing clarifies your thoughts. It is interesting to think about how many people now just turn on the mic and do podcasts. And I think it's such a valuable skill set to have the other side of it. I think in an ideal world, you would be a writer first, then go on podcasting. It's a lot easier going, I think, in that direction than it is in the other.
Agreed. I think, other people have talked about this thing. Ben Solak kind of said the same thing as part of the reason why he still likes to write is because it helps him on his podcast as well. But I can like the appetite for written content in 2026 isn't what it used to be, which is a shame. I love reading stuff. It's like when I'm working and I need, a 10-minute break from whatever I'm doing, just pull up an article, pull up The Athletic and read that. And it just seems like time goes on, it's less and less of a focus.
For sure. And there's just nowhere to hide with writing. You have to, you can't lie. You need the facts. And once you write that down, once you've organized your thoughts, it's easier to then communicate those in podcast form or whatever as well. We're about to pick at 5'11". We do have Genty, Barkley, and Jacobs, a little hyper fragile build, cooking potentially. Ladd, our sole wide receiver. Lamar Jackson still kicking around on the board. Quinshon Judkins. Lamar does go. Adunze, Tate, Price, Brian Thomas, Tyson. Do you have a favorite in this range?
I would go with one of the rookie, either Tate or Tyson here, I think.
Yeah. I have not selected much Tyson just because he always goes off, Tate, and he again goes off the board here. So I'm perfectly content going Tyson unless you want to scoop up like Judkins is perhaps one of your last running backs.
A really good value, but let's do Judkins. It's tougher to get him there.
All right, let's do it. We'll go high T here. I don't think a bad choice. We'll see what this guy does behind us. A chance we still get Tyson, and if not, maybe another wide receiver we like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are a few of them here.
Rome Odunze goes, and then we're about to be back on the clock. Yeah, he goes Brian Thomas. So you want to grab Tyson?
Perfect. Yeah, let's take Tyson. I know he has the injury concerns as a prospect, but I like betting on the Saints offense. Obviously, I very much appreciate what Kellen Moore did 2 years ago in Philadelphia, so I'm happy to buy in on that guy.
Genty, Barkley, Jacobs, Judkins, Ladd McConkey, Jordan Tyson. I like how this one is shaping up. And I do think these, super heavy running back starts, I think they're viable in a lot of different formats, but specifically in this one where we do just want to get out of this round one, and then it's a 106, 105. I think leaning into that projectable volume. When you get to week 17, we will have to have some correlation there with that 156 seat final, but I think this is an optimal build for this format.
Yeah, and I also think it is not an original thought, but once you get into August, the later round running backs, I think, become a little more viable because there will be guys that pop in camp and get steamed up, and I think at this stage in the drafting, I kind of like to have at least three really solid running backs that I know are going to get touches when healthy, and we have four here.
Yep. Yeah, we are in good shape. Mark and I were talking about the week 17 correlation stuff. Where do you fall on that spectrum?
I kind of use it as a tiebreaker, but it's not like I'm not going like if I stack. Honestly, I don't even to be honest. The two games I know are that the Eagles play the 49ers because I'm an Eagles fan, and then I know the Wisconsin Dells, and the other ones I get. What is Detroit, Chicago? One of them. Uh,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, like it's kind of a nice tiebreaker, but I'm generally going for player takes. I like the team stacks. So.
I love that Wisconsin Dells is the one. Everyone you talk to, no
Yeah.
one is ever going to forget Wisconsin Dells. That is incredible.
Yeah.
Rick Aduzzo has a question for you. What are your thoughts on wide receiver depth and tiers as we approach the QB window in drafts here?
So the thing about the QB window is what fits in with that is like there's not a ton of wide receivers I love in the 8th, 9th round. Josh Downs is someone I like. I feel like Addison I don't take a ton of, but I kind of want to take more of him because I think he's talented. Jacoby Myers goes there. I think he's a little underpriced, but for the most part, I'm happy to hammer quarterbacks in the window. And I'm not necessarily a 3 quarterback. I'll always want 3 quarterbacks, especially if I'm doing like, Mahomes and Herbert or something like that. But I do tend to hit the window hard. Often in the 6th, I like to take a quarterback, not so much on this side of the board, but you get Daniels falling to the end of the 6th, Hurts falling to the end of the 6th. Caleb, if you have a bear with you, Drake May's a good pick there. It's just hard with Josh Allen in the 3rd. I'm looking at all these other, elite upside fantasy quarterbacks going in the 5th, 6th round. Those guys look nice too. But with Tyson on the board, that's kind of like once Tyson's off and Brian Thomas is off, then I'm like, all right, I definitely want to go quarterback here.
Yeah. I was going to ask, Herbert lines up right here at ADP. You could potentially push it normally, but the drafter behind us does have Hampton, so that opens up a little bit of risk there. They do have Brian Thomas, so maybe they go Trevor Lawrence, but just kind of talking through some of the options here.
Yeah, I like Herbert if he's there for our next pick. It's a good stack with Ladd.
He should be here, yeah. And like I said, if there was a sick faller, maybe we could try to play it cute, but I don't see anything I have to have here other than Herbert.
Agreed, yeah.
All right, let's grab Herbert. We stack him up with Ladd. We got a 1-4-2. We'll see what the turn does. He has 2 running backs, 4 wide receivers. Would you double tap QJ here? Do you have another flavor of wide receiver you'd go?
Let's sort by ADP for wide receiver.
Yeah, we're by
ADP. It is? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it crazy to go Addison here? I kind of just prefer him to the other 2 that are above.
I don't think it's crazy. Okay. I like Downs. I like Godwin. I like QJ. I'm good with Addison.
Yeah, let's do Addison. I think like I said, I think he's talented. I do plenty of buying in on the Vikings with the cheap running backs or Kyler, but so Addison's I think a good guy to have. Yeah.
I think I've struggled with him a little bit just in that I'm the same way as you. I've been an Addison slappy since he was a rookie. I love it. I love how much closer he's been to Justin Jefferson from a target standpoint than I think the casual, observer would even realize. I am a little worried about the 2 big new variables of they've never had, I think, a wide receiver 3 who can command targets to the level of Jawan Jennings. And we also just have uncertainty with the quarterback change. There's been lots of hand wringing about Kyler Murray's ability with the deep ball. It's not like I'm going to over index on that, but I just do think that there is a much lower floor with Addison this year than there has been in the past couple.
That's true. Yeah, I definitely think Jennings is an improvement over Jalen Naylor and Ty Felton. Maybe a little bit of a Hawkinson fall off. He's had some injuries. He's getting up there. But yeah. I've always thought Addison was good. Even when I remember when he was at Pitt, he was really good. And then he went to USC. He had that great year with Williams, and Williams kind of fell off his last year at USC. And I think a big reason of it was because they didn't really have a replacement for Addison.
Yeah. And I think that's why, like, when I look at, someone like Worthy or Downs, or even maybe to a lesser extent, Jaden Reed, where I'm just like, I'm intrigued by the variables that are shifting where they could be kind of that locked and loaded wide receiver 2 in their offense. Whereas Addison, I'm worried that like he's actually losing that kind of role he had. Not that he's not going to be the one wide receiver 2 by definition, but more so those 8-9 target games that he had in his bag now become 5 to 6 target games.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Minnesota with I think it's almost certain that Kyler's going to start the season and probably finish the season unless it's a real disaster. But I've been a fan of Kevin O'Connell. I think we all have, and last year was one of maybe the first black mark on his resume. But maybe it was just 9. I guess time will tell.
Go Easy Cards wants to know, do you play any of the dailies on an Underdog, or are you a best ball maxi?
I'm best ball. I do the playoff ones too. I love to do a playoff NHL. Me and a couple of my friends have run an NHL playoff pool for the past like 7 or 8 years. So I kind of take some of that, and it's different than Underdog, but I take some of that and put it in there. Haven't dove into much of the dailies. I do DFS cash during the regular season. That's basically the extent of it.
I like it. Do you have you sent me a head-to-head during a Week 18 cash week before? You have to disclose that.
I certainly have, and I remember not being able to find Nate from the Killcast because of his short username.
Exactly. Yes, that is classic. All right, we're about to pick here at pick 110. You do have Kyler as a stack option. Jacoby's here. Kyle Pitts. What else do you like?
I think we go Kyler and be done at quarterback with the stack.
Yeah, we'll grab Kyler. I do think if we're going to do the Addison thing, let's lean into kind of those high-end outcomes of those guys clicking together. 2, 4, 3. Not a lot in this range that we would do for running back unless you like the idea of Aaron Jones with the Minnesota guys. Jacoby Falls, Casey Concepcion, Kittle or Pitts if you're looking for a tight end. What do you think?
Let's do Myers. That's a nice fall for him. Pitts is a good option too, but I think the ADP value with what we did at receiver is smart.
Yes, it's either this is what you do on a build like this where you only have 3 wide receivers through 109 picks. Is you either take Jacoby Myers there or you prepare yourself to take Khalil Shakir with your next pick. That's just the law.
Yeah. I was the one that didn't take pretty much any Khalil Shakir last year, but now like if I go early running back, like, man, I could really use a receiver that's going to be on the field and he has good quarterback and they have chemistry, and like, is he going to spike that much? I don't know, probably not, but he is going to get 6 targets a game, so he's not bad where he goes. But I do prefer to not need to take Khalil Shakir in the 11th, 12th round as my 4th receiver.
Yes. I grit my teeth every time I make that selection. Purple Yosh in the chat also drafting out of the 3 hole. He got the gift of Bijan Robinson at 103. He's gone with Pickens, Rice, David Montgomery, Waddle, Warren, Chuba. Gets Mahomes there to stack up with Rice, Blake Corum. Nice team brewing for Purple Yosh. We got the 2-4-4-0. Herbert with Ladd, Kyler with Addison. Got those 4 early running backs. Genty, Barkley, go Birds, Josh Jacobs, Quinshon Judkins. We did get the Jordan Tyson pick, Addison, and then Jacoby Myers here. Do you do a lot of late tight end builds with your hyperfragile starts?
Yeah, I do. I do like to and the weird thing about that is I also really like Bowers. So I take a lot of Bowers, even though I don't really like doing elite tight end. But yeah, I tend to do like 3, sometimes even 4 late tight end because it gets that 17th, 18th round. Tight ends look better than the running backs and receivers. There are some receivers I like, but it just seems like that's the place to go. You're certainly not getting any good quarterbacks down there. So.
For sure. Win new hashtag. After we make our 11, 12 turn picks, I'll get a new hashtag going. We'll get a final draft today on the Bash. We've had some fun drafts here with Mark and now Evan. Evan, you mentioned being or enjoying the writing. Do you write anywhere? Do you publish anywhere, or just kind of on your own free time?
No, I don't publish anywhere anymore. I did some freelance stuff back in the day, but I've been more focused on, I guess, the job that pays me. But I've always thought like if I could get back into it, some of the stuff I really enjoyed the most was just going to high school sporting events and covering them. I did have I worked for the Philadelphia Inquirer, the newspaper, for a year and a half, 2 years. So I did some high school stuff, and that was always something I really enjoyed because you're just go there, sit, watch a high school lacrosse game. You don't have to worry about being blown off because you're a part of the media. These 16-year-old kids love to
Yeah.
talk about the goals they just scored. I covered the New Jersey State Wrestling Championships one year. That was really cool. It was in Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. That's the kind of stuff I enjoyed. Really doing.
I was the same way. I wrote for my city paper in high school covering high school sports, and predominantly got to cover my high school. Our baseball team made a run to the Final Four of the championship. And some of those writing experiences were what made me fall in love with sports and journalism. So I am right there with you. Interesting here. Would you pull the trigger on Tyler Shuck as a third QB after this big fall with Tyson?
It's not bad. I'd rather do Kincaid. I'd rather get a little bit of upside in tight end room.
All right, let's do Kincaid here. We do get him right around ADP, but we get our first tight end here. Like Evan said, it can dry up quickly. Now, looks like Shuck is going to come back again. What do you think here? He goes. Goddard, Coker, Jawan Jennings, Rashid Shaheed, Omar Cooper, Keaton Mitchell. What do you like?
Let's do Goddard.
All right, there we go. We couldn't contain your Bird fandom for too long after the Barkley pick. We had to come back to it, right?
Right. Yeah. And to be honest, if we're at this range of receiver, Omar Cooper's not bad, but it's not out of the question he comes back to us later. Goddard's a good player. The issue with Goddard has always been his whole career. This is, I think, his 9th season coming up. He's great for 11 games a year, and then he gets banged up and doesn't play the other 5 or their 6 or whatever it is. But he had, I think, 11 touchdowns last year. And if the Eagles are doing more of that, throwing over the middle that Hurts historically hasn't done, Goddard's someone who could benefit from that.
All right, the new hashtag is live for the final draft. This hashtag will be hard for Cowboys fans, for Commanders fans, for Giants fans, but you are legally required to type the hashtag GoBirds in the chat if you would like to be eligible for our third and final draft. We did a Best Ball Mania draft with Mark, the pediatrician who hates CMC, and now we are drafting a pit bull team with Evan, the Eagles fan who works in insurance and has a background in sports journalism. 2442, how you feeling about this squad?
Pretty good. I mean, the running back room I feel great about. Two really good quarterbacks. It would have been nice to get Shuck with that as a third there, but Kincaid is not someone I've historically loved, but I think it seems like he might be putting it together, and they're still they still like him a lot in Buffalo. And I'm not a DJ Moore. Sorry, DJ, Philadelphia native, but I'm not a huge DJ Moore guy. So I think Kincaid is a good value there. He certainly has more upside than Shakir.
Yeah, no, I think to have a punt tight end room basically, and then to come back with both Kincaid and Goddard certainly feels pretty good there. You're still likely getting to 3, but you actually get some nice upside there. I mean, with these builds, it really is just, can you recover at wide receiver? We have Ladd, Tyson, Addison, Myers. We're probably getting to 8 wide receivers in this build.
Yeah, I would think so. And there's plenty of receivers I like in the last third of the draft, and that's just pass catchers to me for the end of the drafts is where the value is for the most part.
I know a lot of fans are having a tough time with this hashtag, although there are multiple Eagles fans in the chat. I know Nick is one here, excited to get the Eagles thing here. 17 entries, that looks good to me. Let's go ahead and spin. Whoever's name pops up will be our third and final draft on the Best Ball Bash. We will be back next week at noon Eastern for another one. Well, Rick Aduzel. Is anyone running hotter than Rick Aduzel on the Bash this fall? He kicked things off at the start of the season. He came back a few weeks ago on a show where Blizzy went, and now Rick Aduzel is back for his Messi-like hat trick on the show. We have picks here in the 13th and 14th round. You do have some tight ends kicking around in SYTYCT, Hunter Henry, Juwan Johnson. As far as wide receivers, you're looking at Naylor, Trey Tucker, Denzel Boston. What would you like?
I'd certainly like to go receiver here because I think we could get tight end a little later. Let's see. I'd be either Boston or Debo. It might be a little early for Debo, so let's go Boston.
Yeah, let's lock in Boston. Yeah, Debo ADP 165, Boston 158. We should be okay. Drafter behind us already has 5 wide receivers. LAC is KC, Minnesota is Jets. Yeah, what do you like? You could do SYTYCT as a bring back. You could do Hawkinson as a double stack, or get another wide receiver here.
I think I'm Debo here. I'll do the, he'll rise once he signs. I think he's going to get targets, and he's someone I take a lot of because it's almost like the Shakir bet, but he's 4 rounds cheaper than Shakir, or 3 rounds.
What's your dream landing spot for him?
To be honest, I don't really know why the Commanders didn't just bring him back. Antonio Williams, Luke McCaffrey, like, couldn't they use Debo a little bit? I think that would be, that would be good for Debo, but if that was going to happen, it probably would have happened already. I would have said the Chiefs if something was happening with Rice, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, because it's like, some of the most logical spots. Well, he's like not going back to the Commanders. That's always my joke. I'm like, Debo on the Commanders. That actually sounds pretty good. The Raiders seem possible to me. I think on Ship Chasing the other day, we were saying the Dolphins would be a place where you could see it as a possibility.
Definitely possible. They could, I don't know how good he'd be there, but they could use the help, and I'm sure he'd love to live in Miami.
All right, we have a 2-4-6-2 here, and we have 4 more picks. I think we kind of agree, at least 2 more wide receivers, probably a 3rd tight end, and then it's probably 5th running back, 3rd quarterback, 9th wide receiver, or 4th tight end.
Yeah, I def 2 receivers, 1 tight end, and then we'll see if there's a crazy value or something that we get for the 4th one. I could definitely see going 9 receivers here.
Breaking news. I have conferred with Rickadoozle in the DMs. We have determined that he was on 2 shows ago. We had previously talked about adding more than just a 1-week moratorium on people returning to the show. Rick has graciously agreed to that rule. We'll be drawing again with the same hashtag. Good luck to everybody. Be ready to move quickly so you can hop on after this draft with Evan. Who's it going to be? ... Oh, wow. Nathaniel.
What do you think you can tout?
So you think you can tout. Appreciate you, Rick. And we've had Nathaniel on After Dark. You've seen him on So You Think You Can Tout. I do not believe he has been on the Bash before. So this will be fun. And I want to almost guarantee that Nathaniel will want to do an Eliminator Draft. So should be a fun one here. Nathaniel, I have your Twitter DM. I will send you this link. And while I'm doing it, I'll have Evan talk through what wide receiver or other position he's eyeing here at 15-11.
Yeah, probably a receiver. I'm not a huge Flournoy guy, but if he's still there for our next pick, I think that's a good value. Man, these are ETR ranks, right? Cooper Kupp's awfully high.
Yes, exactly.
I do like Cooper Kupp in the 18th, but I don't think I like him here.
Yeah.
Judy's not a bad eat your vegetables pick, but we have Boston. Zachariah Branch is someone I like. Hurst and Dell are 2 guys that I take a lot of. I'd be in favor of them.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, again, looking at some of those bringbacks, I don't see anything with KC, the Jets. I guess A.D. Mitchell would be a bringback on the Minnesota stuff, which is kind of attractive. Yeah. Your guy Dontavian Wicks is also around.
I like him. Let's do Tank Dell here.
All right, Tank Dell, the Wisconsin Dells, come on down. We get him opposite Josh Jacobs there in week 17, so we can take it.
Perfect. And then what tight ends do we got?
Yeah, tight ends, we're looking at the Helm, Otten, Dulcich, AJ Barner, Pat Frymouth, Eli Stowers, although I don't know if we do that with Goddard. What jumps out to you?
I would say Helm of these guys. I would say Helm over a receiver.
Let's do Helm here. No correlation, but just a solid tight end 3 there to pair with Kincaid and Goddard. So now we're up to a 2-4-7-3. 2 more picks. We're going to have Nathaniel joining us for a final draft here in a second. And yeah, where are you leaning right now as far as 9 wide receivers, 5 running backs?
We're at 7 receivers, right?
Yeah.
I would say definitely one of the last 2 picks will be a receiver. The other one would be either a receiver or a running back.
Yep.
Depending on who's there. Singleton's not a bad dice roll late, I don't think.
Yeah. I also don't mind the idea of Claiborne on a Kyler team.
Yeah, agreed. I really like that. I liked it last year. I like it this year. Like taking backup running backs with the quarterback, I think is a good pairing.
For sure. How have you attempted any 0 RB builds this year? Are you dabbling with that?
I've done a few. If I'm in a position where it's like, oh, a 5th pick and I'm getting Puka or JSN and then AJ Brown, Drake London next, it just kind of tends to flow from there. That's a part of the board that I tend to like the receivers early. It's just tough to get a running back room that I feel like, even if I'm going volume and I'm doing like Scatabo and Jalen Warren and Ramondre, if I can get I just feel like even in those situations, I want to get at least 5, maybe even 6 running backs.
Yeah.
So it does kind of depend on where I fall on the board, but from the right side of the board, I don't love the receivers at the 3-4 turn, even though I know we took Ladd. I do like Ladd, but like I don't love Garrett Wilson. I don't love Tedoroya. Don't love Ibuka. So that kind of tends to dictate where my drafts go.
Yep. Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray. Those are our quarterbacks. We got Herbert with Ladd. We got Kyler with Jordan Addison. Sticking with those 4 running backs for now. Up top, Genty, Barkley, Jacobs, Judkins. The other wide receivers, along with Ladd and Addison, we got Jordan Tyson, we got Jacoby Myers, Denzel Boston, Deebo Samuel, Tank Dell. Then we got those 3 tight ends, Kincaid, Goddard, Helm. Definitely think that, another wide receiver and a rookie running back looks pretty good here.
Agreed. Yeah. These are the, if in a vacuum, some of these rookie running backs are like, I don't know how great I feel about them, but I think when you have a really strong top 4, it's worth it to take a lottery ticket on the 5th.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. Yeah, we did lose out on AD Mitchell. Although I think you had your choice on Tank Dell or AD Mitchell and went Tank there, right?
Yeah, I've gotten AD Mitchell in the 18th so many times. It's a little hard to stomach because he's still the 3rd receiver on the Jets. Like, I do think he has talent and upside, and he did flash there, but they drafted SYTYCT and Cooper in the 1st round, so I don't know if he's going to be getting as many targets. But on a week-to-week basis, he could definitely pop.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, like you said, it's the tax is here after we've had back-to-back days with beat reports talking about how Geno and AD Mitchell's connection is just immediately dialed. They even went out of their way to say he has a better connection with Geno than Garrett Wilson does right now, which is pretty interesting. Seriously. Okay. Do you want to do the running? We should probably do the wide receiver first. The drafter behind us only has 5. Who do you like?
Yeah.
You say Hurst?
Ted Hurst
one of your
still
guys?
there? Let's do Ted Hurst. He's usually gone by now.
Yeah, we'll get a second rookie with Denzel Boston. I think that makes sense on a room where we're trying to toe the line between having enough targets to stay in the mix while also having some upside. And we could do the Claiborne thing here. Marshawn Lloyd is in here. Holani.
I like Claiborne. Let's do that. Marshawn Lloyd's still learning how to practice in his 3rd year is a little. I think that's a little concerning.
Well, there it is. Herbert, Murray, Genty, Barkley, Jacobs, Judkins, Damon Claiborne is part of the Minnesota. Ladd, Tyson, Addison, Myers, Boston, Samuel, Dell, Hurst, Dalton Kincaid, Dallas Goedert, Gunnar, Helm. How did we do, Evan?
I think we did pretty well. I would have been nice to get a wide receiver faller somewhere. Like, I don't take a ton of Boston, mostly because I really like Concepcion, but I don't think that the price difference between them makes a ton of sense. Like, they were 15 picks apart in the draft. The Browns are going to give both of them plenty of opportunities.
Well, dude, it was great meeting you. I'm glad I was able to put a face to the name. Don't be a stranger in the Discord. Loved hearing your takes. And let's get some writing from you as well while we're at it.
Yeah, maybe I'll start a Substack and try to follow the Jacob Sanderson path.
There you go. There you go. You can call it thinking about thinking about thinking, and you'll be well on your way. All right, we're gonna bring Nathaniel up. I'll catch you around, Evan. Great hanging out, man.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. Talk to you later.
All right, peace. All right, there he is, Nathaniel. Now I don't want to make assumptions, but they're pricing it at like minus 50,000. That I'm gonna click Eliminator Draft right now.
Fire it right now. Let's go.
Okay, there we go. I should have known. How many are you at with your stream drafts?
I just finished my 7th. I am purposefully backloading these. I know I'm not on pace, and that's okay. It's going to be great. I'm not worried about it. I am really excited to start getting into the swing of it later this month and through July and August, though. It's going to be good.
Is your plan? Are you going to try to do some long ones where you can crank out 5 or 6 at a time to catch up?
Pretty much, yeah. So my goal is I should be getting back to my house outside of the show in early July. So the hope is to just have a couple of 6 or 7 hour streams where I'm just cranking them back to back to back to back to back.
I know. I think a lot of people in the chat know, but for people who are watching this on playback who haven't seen you on So You Think You Can Tout, let people know what you do for a living.
Yeah, so I am an actor. I do mostly musical theater stuff. Currently, this is our last day of shows here in Amish country. So I'm off to my next stuff after this weekend. So it's a little bit bittersweet here.
Did you Holmes, California, right? Is where
correct?
Back to? Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. I was going to say bittersweet. Like it has to feel a lot like summer camp, right? Where you have like these friends, these people you work with, you're there for enough of a time to feel comfortable, but you also know it's never going to be where you're going to be forever.
Yeah, it's very summer camp-esque. That's a good way to put it. Just because you also go back, because I've worked at this theater multiple times, and there's some people that come back to this theater with me that I've seen 6 or 7 times, and there's some people that I've seen once or twice and have sort of they've gone off into the ether, and that's just the way that it works.
What is the the post show or the hangout scene? Is it house parties? Is it going to the bar? Well, I know you're in Amish country, so I was about to say they're limited.
The closest bar is like 20 minutes away. So
okay.
That's not always what we do. We do a lot of cookouts when we're hanging out. We do a lot of just house party sort of stuff, doing your quipplashes, your Jackbox, those drinking games that you get on your phone and you pass it around.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. Do you know what else sounds fun, Nathaniel? Having the 101 in the Eliminator. Who is the official Nathaniel 101 in this spot?
All right. I'm going to get crap for this, and I know I'm going to get crap for this, but it's going to be Bijan over Jameer Gibbs for me.
Oh, I thought you were going to do something crazy.
No, nothing crazy.
It's not crazy. Okay.
It's not crazy, but I think especially these past couple of weeks, I think Gibbs has been really climbing up in a lot of people's ranks, and I think Gibbs is a great pick. They're a very clear one too, but I think they're so similar that the bye week and the whole belief in Bijan as a bell cow moving forward, I think pushes him just slightly above Gibbs for me.
I think my snap take in Eliminator too, I've only done a few of these, would be to take Bijan as well. I think the bye week thing is pretty impactful. I mean, you're basically pushing his bye week out to when the money starts to become significant in the contest. That has to count for something.
Yeah, and it's so important that you have, especially your best players in the early weeks. When the money is there, in your week 5, week 6, week 8 buys, those buys are hurting you in weeks where your competitors are going to have those really strong picks in their first round at those positions that they haven't had to deal with the buys yet. And it's great when you can get it through, but I'm not operating under the assumption that every team I draft is going to be a shipper. I'm operating under the assumption that I'm going to make some mistakes and I'm going to have some bad picks. And, you need to be able to build teams that are able to advance despite that. And I think the best way to do that is have these later buy players make up a bigger part of your portfolio.
Man, I can't. The word shipper doesn't sound like something that would come out of your mouth. It almost seems like it would be a reference into something someone else would say.
That would be crazy. I wouldn't reference anyone else on
potentially someone who was the 3rd drafter on the bash last week. The cemeteries. Look at all that.
That would be crazy.
There you go. Okay, this is a fun question from JT. We can entertain this. Nathaniel, what percentage do you give yourself on winning so you think you can tout? Asking for a friend. Now, JT, I believe this is coming from bidding on you during the Swole Cutta for the competition. So JT is invested in your success in the show.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really hard to think about that for me, because I'm looking at, like, you look at the all 8 of us that are still left, and I'm looking at people that I'm so impressed by the amount of work that they've put in and just like what they can do. And I think I stand up really well against them. I think I bring something interesting and unique to the table, but I would give myself somewhere like around 15% to win. And I think I know that's going to be colored by, me believing in myself and me knowing that I'm going to be really good at a lot of these challenges. But it's really hard to push yourself higher than that when you've got really, really talented people and there's a lot of stuff on the show that's just so far outside your control.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of 8, like if everyone had actually, let's make some goddamn picks before we do odds math. Pickens, Jeremiah Love, Breece Hall, Nico, ETN, Kyron.
I'd be looking at Nico with my first of the picks.
Yep.
I'm not a huge Pickens bull. After that, I'd probably go. Yeah, Breece, I think, is the end of a little tier for me at the running back position. So I'd probably go with Breece. Would be my assumption.
No buy overlaps there. Bijan 11, Breece 13, Nico 8. Yeah, Nico versus Pickens is an interesting one in Eliminator. I'm with you. I think straight up, give me Nico. The week 14 buy for Pickens is pretty attractive.
It is, and I as I was saying in the chat earlier, it was very painful for me to type the hashtag to join the Bash today because I am a huge Cowboys fan. But when CD and Pickens are on the field together, like Jake Ferguson is really the person who loses out the most. So it's most important to remember that. But a lot of what Pickens was doing and when he was blowing up was when CD Lamb was dealing with injuries and other nonsense and, his big drops shenanigans in the middle of the year. So I'm just a little bit less bullish on Pickens. I think he's joining that, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, those T. Higgins, those receivers that we get that are those really good number 2s that are an amazing value when you get them in the 4th or 5th round and, aren't going to return as great a value on average when you have to pick them at the 2th return. And we just keep on doing this cycle every year. And I think he just very cleanly fits into that right now.
Yeah. And it looks like the draft rooms felt similarly because Pickens falls all the way to 30. We see Love, ETN, Kyron, Zay go. Getting back to show math. Yeah. 1 of 8, if everybody just had an equal shot, that's 12.5%. So Nathaniel's giving himself slightly better than average odds. Go AZ Cards says, rate your stage performance the night of the tribal vote. Yeah, I want to hear more about this. For people who don't know, Nathaniel actually wasn't even able to attend tribal because he was on stage doing his performance. Fortunately, we were able to get his vote ahead of time. And then when we re-rolled for the second vote, I was able to text Nathaniel and he was able to get that in. So logistically, everything went off without a hitch, but you weren't actually present.
Yeah, you do your best to make sure that how you feel and everything that's going on in your life doesn't affect how you perform on stage. But it's never 100%. You're never going to be able to fully decouple the fact that I'm a little bit anxious, that I'm like, oh, I don't know what's going on with this tribal stuff, from the fact that I'm, on stage and trying to actively portray, mainly being suave is what this character is for the vast majority of the show. Either suave or concerned is where his headspace is for the story. So I think it was not my best performance. Let's be clear. But it was when I went to acting school, they talked a lot about your process giving you a bottom good, where it's even when all this nonsense is happening in your life, or even when things are going wrong on stage, when you have a good process and you have enough improv chops to make things work when things go wrong, you're going to deliver a good performance that people are happy to see and excited to pay for. And I think I was not quite at my bottom good, but a little bit above it that day. Because it was it was just a stressful day, I think all of us can really talk about we care about this competition. The amount of time and effort that we've been pouring into this behind the scenes with all the confessionals, all the stuff that hasn't necessarily been shown, the challenges and everything. And it's been almost a month and a half at this point. Everyone who's here really wants it, and it's been a big part of my summer. So it's obviously it takes you're thinking about it.
It is. I was actually looking. I had to reference an old script from the show that I was for this most recent episode, the debate episode that was actually just announced, and it was blowing my mind. The script I was looking at was just a month ago, and I was like, so much has happened in such a short amount of time. We're on the clock. Neighbors, Burden, Evans, McLaurin, Adams, Loveland, Henderson, running backs chewed up. What do you like?
Okay, let's go. The picks are going to be Burden and Terry in my mind, unless that's a problem for you. My thought process there was the only running back that I was at all interested in, obviously, was Travion. He overlaps with Bijan. I don't love that. So I think moving in a different direction there is nice. I like Terry. I think there's a lot of targets open in that offense, and it keeps our bye weeks diversified. Blake Neighbors is never a consideration for me in the Eliminator. I think he's an absolute – I'm really worried about it. Like, he'll shoot up if we get good news, and I'll pay higher prices for him. And I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I think you just have to stay away in this format. I mean, the injuries are so impactful. I know I sometimes take for granted everyone knowing the scoring system. So this is the Eliminator. Round 1, you are in your typical 12-person draft pod, but 6 of 12 advance. And after that, every single week until a week 17 final, it's mano-a-mano, head-to-head against one opponent. So very clean sweat. It obviously changes the strategy. It basically inverts how you think about a Best Ball Mania, where week 17 is all that matters. Just get there and then have a juggernaut unfold. You want to get off to a really fast start, really high floor right at the start. That's why the people go really running back heavy. Then you got to start to consider your buys, consider how you're handling the onesies. You got to protect against the downside risk early, but then you still need the upside late to have a team that can repeatedly beat the other best teams, because there is the element of natural selection in this contest where teams get progressively stronger and you're facing the best teams by the end of the contest.
Yeah, no, it's like, even when I was getting in this contest last year, and it was, you're getting to even just like week 10, 11, you're like, I was looking at the teams I was facing. I'm like, how is this guy able to draft this team? Like, this is insane. Like, you see, all the best picks on the team, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm fading JSN for the 5th week in a row. This is so annoying. Like, yes. And just stuff like that. You're like, it's just how the contest works, and you just gotta live with it.
This is quite the callback from Rohan to the Tout twist. Have we heard Nathaniel's take on the Oscar Delp steam? You obviously pounded the table for Juwan Johnson during an earlier episode of the show.
I'm sort of la-la-lying about Oscar Delp steam, choosing instead to focus on the fact that Chris Olave seems to not be able to practice or do anything, and Jordan Tyson is still limited with a hamstring injury, and just blissful ignorance my way to still feeling good about that take, because I'm still loading up on Juwan Johnson. And it's the rookie tight ends, like, they've been so good recently at coming up and mattering early, but like historically they haven't. And if I'm going to get worried about these rookie tight ends coming up and being really annoying, then it'll be fine. Like,
I'm pretty sure Rohit's just trolling a little bit. I don't think anyone needs to be concerned about Oscar Delp as he pertains. All right, we're going to make our picks at the 6-7 turn. We got the 2 running backs, the 3 wide receivers, rainbow flop with the bye weeks, no overlaps there. We are in kind of a quarterback in wide receiver pocket. Chuba Hubbard is still on the board with a week 5 bye. What do you like here?
Mm-hmm. I definitely want to be taking one of the quarterbacks here. I'd probably lean Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
I hate this part of the draft. It's so ugly. I'd go Chuba Hubbard and Hurts would be my 2 picks.
Yeah, we get Chuba, obviously a fast start, eliminator-ass guy. You get a little bit more of a bye week moat with Rico, but I think Chuba falling in this room makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to buy, and people are just so excited about Jonathan Brooks for whatever reason. Like, I can understand the fall, but I think when you're getting to when he's around Dowdle and RJ Harvey, like, you just have to be pulling the trigger on what's most likely going to be a good starting running back for the majority of the season. Because we've got Jonathan Brooks, who hasn't played in 3 years. Like, we can believe the talent's there, but we've seen how many times after a bad injury, these players can just like fall off a cliff. Like Chuba Hubbard could just be more talented and more explosive at this point than Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
I know he was losing work to Rico last year. He could be better. And no, sorry.
You're cutting out for me a little bit, Nathaniel. I don't know if in the chat, if that's just me or if you guys are getting that as well. We'll give you a second here. I'll recap this team while you check your settings. We got Jalen Hurts at quarterback. We got Bijan, Brees, Chuba at running back, Nico, Luther Burden, and Terry McLaurin at wide receiver here. Do we got you back, Nathaniel?
It looks fine from my end. I don't. Are you seeing me fine? I'm hearing you, and
I have you
fine.
It was you were crisp and clear at the start, and then it got a little fuzzy, but I can hear you now, which is the most important thing here. Oh, now we lost him for a second. We will get Nathaniel back in the saddle shortly. We have 7 picks down. We are drafting an eliminator team with Nathaniel. Nathaniel has vowed to stream 150 eliminator drafts. You guys should find him on YouTube. I believe the handle is I Know You Can Tout on YouTube, or I Know I Can Tout on YouTube. Let me confirm that for Nathaniel here while he works through whatever shitty internet they give him at Cass Housing. You got to put that in your writer when you get signed up for the acting gig. I need that Ethernet cable. I need that Starlink. I need that good internet. But you learn. You live and you learn. Amish internet is spotty. That's right. That's how it goes. Does this count as one of the 150 for Nathaniel? My guess is he's not going to count it. I think he probably means 150 on his own account. At least that's how I would count it. We got Maryland, Mom Maryland, given some important context. There was a tornado last Thursday, and he was without power until Monday. I just hope he's back before this 8-9 turn. It's a lot of pressure to have to make a pick on his behalf. Oop, looks like we might have him back. Is he back? There he is.
All right, am I back?
Yeah, and you're clear, and you're crisp.
All right. Yeah, sorry about that. Not quite sure what happened there.
All right, you're good.
Yeah.
And we can lock in here for this 8-9 turn. We got Hurts. We got the 3 running backs, the 3 wide receivers. Best available running back is Aaron Jones, Jonathan Brooks, Rashad White, and Bill. Wide receiver, we're looking at Michael Wilson, Pittman, Addison, Downs, QJ. What do you think here?
I like Pittman, Addison. I like going just the receivers here.
Yeah, we have Hurts. Not a lot that we need to do with running back. Tight end is kind of wiped unless you like Laporta ahead. So grab Pittman and Addison.
Yeah, Pittman and Addison look good to me. Like, just keeps the bye weeks diversified, keeps us with good upside. You going off, I'm going to see where my phone is better, or unless it's clear for you.
No, it was when you first popped on, and then it regressed again.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Today is apparently Jordan Addison Day. We just drafted him with Evan. I'm skeptical, but we'll get Nathaniel's take on Addison here as well. But we now have Nico, Luther Burden, Terry McLaurin, Michael Pittman, and Jordan Addison. Those 3 running backs. Bijan, Brees Hall, Chuba Hubbard, Jalen Hurts. We did get the 101 in this draft. Nathaniel was worried that he might get some pushback for wanting to take Bijan Robinson ahead of Gibbs, but I have no problem with Bijan. The later bye week, and not a lot of question marks about what you're getting from Bijan this year. I guess you have the offensive coordinator change, so maybe there's some unique variables, but man, there is nothing behind him without Tyler Algier. It is so interesting to me. We were talking about this on Ship Chasing yesterday. We were looking at main event redraft ADP, And then even in the Eliminator, a guy like Aaron Jones not going higher is kind of crazy to me. He's still on the board here at 106. It really feels like a similar play to Chuba Hubbard. Nathaniel, I was saying how it's just interesting to me that in this format, Aaron Jones isn't going higher.
Oh, no, I love Aaron Jones. I love Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, frankly. But I think he's a very, as you were saying, very similar play to Chuba Hubbard. I mean, if anything, like he's probably less likely to be the clear locked-in starter in my mind, but has more upside and is on a better offense. So you're just looking at the two of them, and you're like, okay, you want some safe, boring veteran production. And Chuba Hubbard, you're more likely to get that, and you're more likely to get a variant of that that's going to give you enough points to continue to push onward. But if you get Aaron Jones, you get a lot of the same benefits without any of the like random Jonathan Brooks nonsense, or just the Panthers are so bad. Like Kyler Murray could be bad, but I don't think he's going to be so bad that the Vikings just tank as an offense and you're like, oh, they're scoring 6 rushing touchdowns total over the course of the season or something crazy like that.
Yeah, I'm really starting to warm up to Aaron Jones. You know, I think on for Fantasy Life today, we're doing a show where it's like, who's this year's George Pickens? Who's the various archetypes. And one of them was, who is this year's Javonte Williams? And I'm like, isn't it Aaron Jones? Like, isn't that the archetype of the kind of older veteran who, because of injury concerns, whatever, we kind of left for dead, but is still in a pretty intriguing environment? Like, I could see him returning that kind of Javonte-like season.
Yeah, no, I mean, and Javonte came out of nowhere, at least for me last year, like just because like we had written him off, but he was a bit, correct me if I'm wrong, he was still pretty young compared to Aaron Jones. Like Aaron Jones is ancient at this point for a running back. So I can understand where people are skeptical, but what we got up here?
We're back on the clock. We got tight ends, Kelsey, Andrews, Kittle, Goddard. We have Jordan Love, Tyler Shuck, Romeo Dobbs at wide receiver.
Oh, Love's still here? Let's slam the Love button.
Yep. Get a week 11 bye for Love. We got the week 10 with Hurts. What else you want to look at?
Tight end is interesting. Best running back available is Tyron Tracy.
Yep.
If I had to choose a tight end, it'd probably be Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
So I'd probably slam that in.
Yeah, let's get Andrews there. Again, pretty big difference between the Kelsey week 5 bye and the Andrews week 13. Would you say when you look at these ADPs and we look at some of those spots that the market isn't factoring in the bye weeks enough with some of the ordering?
Yeah, I think part of it is I just believe in the Ravens as an offense more than the Chiefs coming into this next year. And I think that Mark Andrews is someone who can really benefit from that. And part of it is like, we're still in the part of the summer where no one's thinking about the Eliminator. Like, I remember I saw that Gretsch wrote an article recently about how best ball is making people worse at redraft. I can see the same thing happening for how BBM is making people worse at the Eliminator. Like, obviously people don't care about the Eliminator that much, but like when you just keep on doing these drafts and you keep on thinking about week 17 correlation, when you keep thinking about all this stuff that doesn't matter for this format and don't have the ability to think about the stuff that does matter, the bye weeks, your projected points, and your floor for things that, matter here a lot more than they do in your BBMs, your puppies, your, whatever the heck Frenchies that they're doing. Like, you could get people that have just so outsized misunderstandings of what the market should look like. What is our team actually looking like? Because with all the interruptions, I think I have sort of forgotten where we're at.
We're in good shape. We got a 2-3-5-1. We have 2 week 10 buys, 2 week 11, 2 week 13. Everything else is 1 or less, obviously. Hurts and Love at quarterback. We had the 3 running backs early, Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, Chuba Hubbard. We got up to 5 wide receivers, Nico Collins, Luther Burden, Terry McLaurin, Michael Pittman Jr., and Jordan Addison. And then we grabbed our first tight end there in Mark Andrews. Yeah.
This is looking like a start that I'm really happy with. Like, I love all the diverse buys, and I think if you're going to be doing a bunch of these like earlier buys that like we have at the receivers, having them all be different is really what makes it so that you can survive that really easily. and it's not like we're relying super heavily on any one particular receiver other than maybe Nico. Like Nico's probably the one that we're like, we want him week in and week out to be really strong. So, and week 8 is a fine time to deal with that.
Like if you, as a thought experiment, like if you just think about your best ball lineup, let's take a week 5 bye or whatever. And let's say you're taking out, again, these bye weeks may vary, but let's just say you're taking out your 2nd round wide receiver or whatever, 3rd round wide receiver who's going to project for 13.5 points. And yes, you have depth. And so now you're subbing it in with your 12th round pick who's projected for like 8.4 points. Theoretically, you're going to be going up against teams that project similarly to yours because they made it to that spot. And you like are legit starting that matchup, again, assuming replacement level production with what, a 4-point, 5-point gap if one of your early things. Like it to me, it's just so obvious how impactful the buys are to making sure your team can advance to the money weeks.
Exactly. I mean, I think obviously when the money matters is when you're thinking about bye weeks. It's the same way that you should be thinking about week 17 correlation, and week 17 is all that matters is how you should be thinking about bye weeks, because you can get into the money with just a good team, but to like go far and have your bases be covered, that's when you need to really be worried about the buys, I think.
We're back on the clock here. Pacheco, Algier, Hunter Henry, Chig, your guy, Juwan Johnson, Trey Tucker. Who do you like?
I actually, you may not like this, but I like Bryce Young here, I think, as a 3rd quarterback.
No. I've
and I think, yeah, I think I'm tossing up in my head Chig versus Juwan Johnson. And I know the answer to that because I'm on stream and because I'm here means that has to be Juwan Johnson. I believe I'm legally required to pick Juwan Johnson there. I like the correlation with having the 2 Washington pass catchers together, but you know, we're gonna lean into the true serum, the true belief that I have in Juwan Johnson, despite all of the nonsense that might be happening, and fire away with him.
You got to establish your personal brand above all. And so getting Juwan Johnson there does the trick. Let's circle back to a couple so you think you can tout questions in the chat. Rohan, again, referencing, if you guys missed it on Twitter today, I just announced the next challenge for the final 8. It is a debate tournament with the remaining 8 contestants. I also announced that Jacob Sanderson, former lawyer turned podcast debater on ADP chasing and ship chasing, will be the presiding judge. And Rohan wants to know, who would you least want to pull as a debate opponent from those other 7 in the field?
O'Hara, I think we're both we're just so similar, like in the way that we look, in the way that we talk, in the way that we like structure our thoughts, that I don't think that that'd be a particularly interesting back and forth. I think we have a lot of similar opinions too, from what I've talked with him during the Survivor Week challenge. So I think, especially if I get put on the sides of arguments, like if me and O'Hara have the same opinion and I get put on the side that we both disagree with, I think that it could really shine me in a negative light.
Yeah, the one thing I would say, and people know this from the episode, Michael O'Hara has immunity. No matter what happens in this debate challenge, he cannot go home. Like when I was even thinking through, like, hey, this reward for him winning immunity, I was like, does that make him less likely to give it his all? Would that make him actually an easier opponent because he's just like, it doesn't matter? I
wouldn't think so. I think, again, as I was talking about earlier, like these people all want this, and winning is always good. It's always good to win, regardless of whether or not you're immune. So I think that there's no way I would put it at 0% less effort that he would be giving because he feels safe. If anything, he might be doing better because he's not worried about, if I, have a bad day, if things just collapse around me here, then I'm going home. He can just be calm and steady and deliver his arguments without having that, emotion creep in when it may not be necessary.
Yeah. And again, people don't like, to take it back to the Tout twist, where you guys were, you came in with something prepared, but the essence of the challenge was what you hadn't prepared. There is something to be said about like, you feel the pressure in that moment. If you knew that the Tout twist, it didn't matter how you did, you would be just naturally a lot more loose. So I can definitely see that side of it as well.
Yeah. So
Another question from Go Easy Cards. He wants to know, after the tribal alliances, do you have a different view on some of your fellow touters, from watching, the episode? Obviously you didn't get to attend. Curious your thoughts there.
Obviously, these are all people that I am meeting that are new to me. So every time that we interact, it has a big change in how I see a lot of them. So I definitely say a lot of stuff changed. I think the biggest person for me was Cups. I really hadn't talked to Cups a ton before all of the scheming. He was very helpful with some scheduling stuff earlier in the company. He was helpful with some of the scheduling the After Dark and stuff. So I talked to him, but just going through that and working with him, I was like, okay, this is someone who I think is really, really intelligent, really has a good head on his shoulders, and is someone that I like and respect and want to work with. When
Sure.
I did not think that before, but it sort of reinforced that.
We are back on the clock. Running backs: Coleman, Tucker, Kamara, Bigsby. Wide receivers: Debo, Denzel, Boston, Trey Harris. Tight ends: Hawkinson, Barner. What do you like?
Yeah, we got to be looking at. Let's look at tight end for a second, if you could. Yeah, let's go Hawk, and then if we can get Tucker into the queue, that'd also be great.
Yeah, I'll put Tucker in the queue. We did get Hawkinson, our third tight end, 13,
Great.
8, 6 bye weeks. Definitely need to get back to running back. You want to go Tucker here?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Get our fourth running. Is this a thinner running back room than you would normally be comfortable with here?
This is about as thin as I'm comfortable with, because I think
Yeah.
we have 3 running backs that I'm relatively comfortable with, that all have different bye weeks. So that's as as thin as I'm willing to get. I wouldn't want to be any thinner than this, and this is almost certainly going to be a 3-6-6-3 build, would be my guess.
What do you, when you are in these spots for Eliminator, when you're a little thinner up top at running back, are you trying to hunt for big swings, or are you trying to just get as much bankable volume, hashtag or slash avoid zeros as possible?
This philosophy will change as the summer goes on. Right now, I'm going for big hits, because that's what you can do in June that you can't do in August, is find these running backs that could be creeping up boards that you weren't expecting, that you weren't thinking about. That isn't the right mindset for where people are at, but could be huge. Could be multiple round risers later on in the summer for one reason or another. I think as it gets closer to the end of the contest, when everything's closed, it's going to be more like, okay, let's just sort of smooth this out, make it so that it can survive. But, as you were saying, to really get through the money weeks, you need to have really good teams. It's there's not quite as many people as in BBM, but there's still a lot of people here. If you want to win $200,000 doing this, you've got to have a really, really good team. And right now is a great time to be taking those swings. And, sometimes you're going to miss, but when you hit, it's going to be really, really nice. You're going to have a really good team that you're proud of.
This is a good question from Angry Dragon. You've been putting out some YouTube videos where you have a felt board, which is kind of a proxy for, I don't know, a power rank, various people within your orbit on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to get an update here soon?
Yes, the plan is I will be updating. I'll be uploading a board update on either Friday or Saturday of this week.
There you go.
So
there you go.
Don't worry.
That would be tomorrow or Saturday. Go Easy Cards wants to know, what do you do for fun in between gigs? You might be looking at it right now, but what else?
Yeah, a lot of fantasy football. I'm a big Magic the Gathering player. So I do a lot of online tournaments for that between gigs. Obviously go and do acting classes and, random open mic stuff, just to keep the performance juices flowing. And I think people don't realize that just because I don't have a gig, that I probably work more when I don't have a gig versus when I do have a gig. Just sending out auditions, driving to random places to audition. Auditioning is, in my mind, more taxing than actually having the gig and just doing the performance.
Oh, for sure. I mean, just that element of, preparing, the nervousness, the rejection, etc. Back on the clock, Jeremy Bernard, Antonio Williams, Tank Dell. We can look at running backs, Sharbs, Emmett Johnson, Braylon, Mike Washington, Emmanuel Wilson, Kalani.
This is when I'm going to sort of go off the wall. Can we go ahead and these last 3 picks are going to be crazy.
Quick.
Can we grab DJ Giddens?
Yes, this is definitely off the wall. Did I get him in time? Okay, I did. Let's get this first pick, the second pick in. We did get Giddens, and we can go from there.
And then I like Tank Dell. So we'll go ahead and do DJ Giddens, Tank Dell, and then we'll have another crazy running back pick for our last one.
Okay, you're going to have to talk to me about DJ Giddens on about 10 levels. I actually just wrote about him in the newsletter. The reporting is he's pretty much in a 50-50 for the RB2 right now with the rookie Seth McGowan.
Yep.
He obviously has the late bye. What else am I missing here?
So I think that Jonathan Taylor could, in fact, have the Saquon Barkley problem from a couple of years ago, where he just sort of goes off and has a bit of a touch problem. I am really not scared of Seth McGowan, even though he should be like fighting for that RB2 spot, and that's all the reporting. I think he has he's kind of Rice-like in my mind, where I'm like, there's a bunch of like X factor risk with Seth McGowan that I'm not really comfortable betting on. And I think that Giddens has shown the profile in college and in limited opportunities that if something does happen to Taylor and he is able to fully edge out Seth McGowan, which I believe are both more likely than not to happen, he's going to be an absolute smash where he's being drafted. So I expect people to go crazy about this, but these are the sort of swings that I think you should be taking at the end of the Eliminator when you're a little bit uncomfortable with your running back room, because you're not going to get the opportunity. If things play out the way that I think they will, you're not going to get these opportunities later on in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, there's some pretty big knocks on a lot of these guys. I just think, can't you accomplish a similar thing with a little bit less risk with a guy like Nicholas Singleton, who comes off the board, someone like Marshawn Lloyd, who does look more like he has the inside track for RB2? Like, do you have to take the RB3 risk this early in the summer on a guy like DJ Giddens?
Well, I would argue that Nick Singleton and Marshawn Lloyd both have pretty similar RB3 risk to DJ Giddens on offenses that are not necessarily as focused on the run. I think the bets are all effectively the same. Like, when you get down to this range and when you are taking bets that other people aren't taking, it's, I think, a good way to diversify your portfolio in a logical and in a way that is not just really detracting your projected points, because a bunch of these guys are going to project for effectively 0 points. I think, Jaden Blue, Braylon Allen, Nick Singleton, Katrin Allen, like, these guys are all projecting for very, very few points. But if things go their way over the course of the season, they'll projected points go up and the draft capital will go up. So you want to be drafting the ones of those that aren't really being drafted instead of the ones that are being drafted but are slightly more comfortable for whatever reason. It is my sort of framework for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I just I need to see a little bit. Like, to me, it's a concern that Giddens has been in the building now for a couple of years. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor has stayed mostly healthy, but they have never shown a willingness of like, oh yeah, we do want to get this guy a few more touches. And then all of a sudden they draft McGowan. They're already talking about it being like a true competition. We see them defer to veterans all the time. I mean, the Seahawks are doing it. It's like Holani, Emmanuel Wilson, all these guys are going ahead of their first round pick, Jadarian Price. So to me, it is like a little concerning just what the team has told us and shown us with DJ Giddens to this point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not a pick without risk. And it's something that I wouldn't, suggest that you fire off that exact player in every draft that you go on. But I think it's really worthwhile to be thinking about what types of running backs you want to be taking late when you're not doing those super hyper fragile 4 or 5 running backs within the first 8 rounds sort of builds.
All right. Yeah, last pick. I think we probably want to go running back here, right?
Yeah. Is Samaje Perine still on the board?
He is. Yeah.
Yep, let's go over there. I remember I was on a stream recently and I was talking with Chad and a couple other people, Chad Candles and a couple other people in the chat about Cincinnati's RB2, and it's like, oh, who is Cincinnati's RB2? And I couldn't really tell you a strong answer, and I think that that's a space where we want to be drafting running backs in that offense. So let's go ahead and take a dart throw on that, and hopefully we don't have to rely on Higgins or Samaje Perine, but if we do, they could be really nice.
Yeah, it's funny too, again, how like the perception of it's like the human resources meme where it's like Samaje Perine behind Chase Brown 2 years ago, like, ooh, and then it's like Samaje Perine behind Chase Brown in 2026. Nobody gives a fuck. Obviously he's older. He's been, de-emphasized a little bit, but yeah, probably going to have a bit of a standalone value. You just worry with him that it is like the Justice Hill thing where it's like late career Justice Hill. The floor is still there, but man, the ceiling starts to feel very zapped.
Yeah. Again, it's like I'd rather not be in this situation, but just the way that the draft board fell, I think this is the way that we have to be attacking the running back position there because, these guys just you have to get something out of these guys. You can't be looking at them and being like, oh, okay, these guys are getting drafted every time. They have some sort of pathway to being relevant, versus these guys aren't getting drafted all the time and have some sort of a pathway to being relevant. Like you got to just allow yourself to have those opportunities to hit.
All right, Nathaniel, I'm glad you won. It was fun to chop it up with you. You mentioned perhaps a felt board update coming out, more streams to look forward to. Someone in the chat had asked me my thoughts on your muted live stream. I did not watch, but I saw the title and I loved, I chuckled not because of even what happened. I was mainly chuckling because I thought it was funny that you titled the video and left it up as opposed to just unlisting it.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like if I'm doing all the streams, something that I've been told is failure is relatable. And, we're all going to screw up a little bit. So I'd rather keep it up and remind people that, amateur streamer, I'm still going to screw some stuff up. And, it's okay to come at me for my takes. It's okay to come at me for, screwing up a stream. That's fine. That's what this business is about. So, you just got to roll with the punches.
Yeah. In the same way that I meant to get Braylon Allen and a different wide receiver for Mark, and I ended up getting him Kayshon Boutte, every part of me wants to unlist this stream and delete it. And yet it will live in infamy, in posterity. So Nathaniel, appreciate you. You guys go check out So You Think You Can Tout. The Survivor episode dropped earlier this week. Really, really fun episode. Get caught up to speed. And guess what? We're going to have a new episode for you guys fairly soon. There will not be as long of a gap between these two episodes as there was the previous one, just because we had so many moving parts with the Survivor episode. As far as my schedule, I am doing a Thursday After Dark tonight. We are doing it with Ben Gretsch. My old ship chasing pal, have not caught up with him in a hot minute. That will be at 8 p.m. Eastern. All of you guys in the chat, I believe, should have access there depending on your YouTube member level. And then, yeah, we are aiming for early next week for the next episode of So You Think You Can Tout, which Nathaniel will, of course, be featured in as part of that debate tournament. And yeah, thank you to everybody who hung out in the chat. We're going to be here every Thursday, noon Eastern. All you have to do is become a YouTube member, drop the hashtags when they pop up, and you too can be like Nathaniel and Evan and Mark. We will catch you guys on After Dark. Thanks again. Peace.